Elm Street.
Need some beats, please. Don't forget the money, man.
I love America, but she's so dangerous. Dangerous. I love America, but she's so dangerous. Somebody call her Superman. I am made of kryptonite. The wolves say it's chow time. What we about to eat tonight? What happened on Epstein Island? Did it really take it life? I'm deeper than the ocean floor and higher than a satellite. Yes, I am an alchemist. I murder rubble salesmen. Walk with no religion. It's the return of the ancient Egyptians. West Coast, California. My family is Riverside. In the Empire, none of us ain't a lullaby. This is where the gods dwell and a lot of mothers cry. You can feel the thunder cry. Choctaw Nation, future chief on the rise. From a different dimension, Star Trek Enterprise. I love America, but she's so dangerous. Dangerous. I love America, but she's so dangerous. Dangerous. Authentic jewels around my neck, dripping like King Tut. Pop locking on the pyramids. Scotty beat me up. I'm manifested as a god. I in my hieroglyphs. Yes, I am so cold. I can swim in a lava pit. My father who art in heaven, returning in the mothership. Dropping missiles and bombs, sinking the devil's battleship. Roswell crashes, UFO flying saucers. I'm the rap Captain EO, call me the Sunwalker. I'm the rap Captain EO, call me the Sunwalker. I love America, but she's so dangerous. Dangerous. I love America, but she's so dangerous. Rocking with Jason Elm Street. Peace to the God. Peace to the goddess. I love America, but she's so dangerous. Dangerous. I love America, but she's so dangerous. All aboard! It is time to hop aboard my spaceship, 'cause you are now tuned into What is the Matrix? I'm your host, Jason Elm Street Williams, and let's get straight into it with my amazing special guest, the brother rolling in from Los Angeles, the God, Crib Jesus.
Peace to the gods. It's the blue God, the true God, Crib Jesus, author of the Blue Bible. Yes, I'm here with Jason Elm Street, none other, and I'm real excited. You know what I mean? It's the new year for me. You know, my year starts Easter.
Spring.
You know what I'm saying? So it's the new
Happy
year for
New
me.
Year, brother.
You know what I mean? Now that everything is springing from the earth, I'm springing back into my groove, and I'm ready, man. West Coast Wu-Tang, Blue Tang dropping this summer, man. We got to get you on there, man.
I gotta be
We
on
gotta
there.
get you on there, bro. I gotta get a track for you, bro. We gotta get you on there.
I'd love to do it, brother. We definitely need to collaborate and make some real thunder rock conscious music for the world. Like, you know, before we even get into the show, we were talking about music. You know, I was at the NAB show in Las Vegas. And of course, I'm thinking of our network that you and I are building and with the goddess in our squad. And I I realized that we don't need them anymore. All the top cameras, all the technology, the green screens, all the equipment that they were using in Hollywood, we have access to now. And now that they're rolling out the AI and robots, it's also an opportunity even more for us when we come together, because instead of 100 people on set, you just need a few people just to plug in the AI, and the AI robot can track you when you're moving. So we have to basically take advantage of this opportunity amongst this chaos, because as you see, they're unplugging the system to implement a new system. But while they're unplugging it, this is why we build like this, so we can be innovative and create, cross-communicate our languages and knowledge, and innovate and create our businesses, our wealth, because right here in this land, this is us. So when I was in Las Vegas, I realized that there were The South Koreans had technology, the Chinese, the Japanese, Indonesia, all these places. And then they had a map, Crip Jesus, of the world. And it was showing all the connections from China, Indonesia, all these different countries coming here. And I realized, being one of the only Moors, Black Indians up in there amongst thousands of people who don't look like us, I realized that our people are consumers. And it's time for us to own again. It's time for us to own our industries, meaning owning our culture. And so when we have our cameras again, when we have our land again, we're going to create our own stadiums. We're going to refurbish our old games. We're not going to play in the NFL. We're not going to play in the NBA. We're not going to send our children and youth to their schools or colleges. Therefore, the whole world is not going to watch those who don't look like us on TV and spend all their money and invest it in their sports. They're going to come and see us play. And then for those who don't look like us, people will pay for those games. They're going to pay for our jersey. They're going to pay for our food. And this is what the introduction of this is all about. The slave draft of the NFL, the Negro Football League. So we are making trillions and billions of dollars, basically economic generational wealth for people who historically hate us. So when we talk about Shannon Sharpe, this happens throughout time. And I sent the messages. I was like, brother, slow down. You
now put me on the Sharpe thing. I've been kind of asleep on this. What's going on with it?
Well, we know that brother Shannon Sharpe, I knew something was going to happen when he released the sex video of him having sex. We know that was purposely done, but that was done because he wanted to hide the, well, I won't say fact, from my understanding, living in Southern California and tapped into the underground, that, you know, he's a much love, you know. You guys know what it is. His name is Shannon. You know, so even with that, you know, I know we know a lot of brothers who have girl names, but the name of his show is Shay Shay. So, you know, much love. The brother gives off feminine vibes, you know. And so he got not even caught. There's nothing wrong. Basically, a legal hooker through OnlyFans. He was recorded. The girl was recording him. And he was saying, I'm going to choke you now. Now, for those who probably have dated certain women and stuff, I know I wasn't into that, but much love. There's girls who like to be talked to like that and role play. There's girls who like to be choked and all that stuff. Yeah. So in that world, who knows what they were playing? So we can't take things out of context that are edited. But what we can do in the movie is see this happen over and over. Brothers who weren't raised in California come out here and lose their soul. They lose their mind. They lose their soul off of the temptation. And that's okay to mess with other women. But if you're a multi-millionaire and you're messing with random troglodyte white girls built like a cardboard, that's saying something. When you're paying $25,000 for her to say $25,000 a cheek, they were showing. It's like, what are you? None of our business. But it just lets us know that a lot of our brothers from out of town who come from out of state, it's a tendency for them to get trapped in, whether it's the gangbanging culture, the satanic culture of the sacrifices for certain things, or sex culture. You know, it reminded me, like when I went to Atlanta, I said, man, these brothers are trying to be like California. Here we got some brothers, country Bama brothers, all respect, country brothers in Atlanta. And you could see the influence that the brothers from California did. They're trying to all be like us. And so that's another topic. But when it goes to brother Shannon Sharpe, when you giggling and laughing and cooning and stuff like that, they don't fear that. You know, this is what I'm saying. They take the biggest, the baddest, buffest, tallest giants, and they either feminize them, or they make it to where they're under contract. You know, I applaud the brother from San Bernardino who got drafted. He played for the Arizona State, then went to LSU and got drafted by the Washington Redskins, aka the Washington Commanders. And his mother is his agent, like brother LeBron James did, but Rich Paul just married Adele. So at the end of the day, we know that when we go to college, the majority of the time, there's not a lot of sisters on campus. And then a lot of the times the sisters still want to act ghetto. And then you only have a few sisters in college who actually get it. And then there's the sisters who become whitewashed as well. And so the majority of the sisters who go through the major university system gets brainwashed, even the sisters in the HBCU, because they're not teaching them an indigenous Moorish legacy. They're still teaching them that they came from slaves, they came from Africa, all these lies. And so when we look at brother Shannon Sharp, look at this muscle God. And so they don't fear a sissy. They don't fear a pastor. They don't fear the gangbanger. They fear brothers that look like that talking about we gods. That fears them. That's that serpent energy. But when you're messing with a 20-year-old white girl and they get dirt on you, because there's always a coon, like they say, we don't know if it's true, but they say Shaquille O'Neal was caught asking around to have dirt on Shannon Sharp 2 weeks ago. Coincidentally, when I sent brother Shannon Sharp a message, I was like, bro, you better put your assets in prepare. And always, you know how the backdraft will be. Why did I say that? Because he announced that he was up for like $100 million deal or something. And I was like, oh, they're going to have to get something on you, brother. You talking about you going to go independent. And if you're debating, the moment they make you famous in their world, they own you. That's the difference of us right here with the Matrix University. It's a testament for brothers and sisters who were raised in Southern California, brothers and sisters who were raised in Southern California in our generation, who can testify that brother Jason Elm Street was in Hollywood, had the tour van, had record deal offers, and was there, could have done certain things to get to that level. And then people can testify that almost 20 or over 20 years ago, I made albums talking about this. So it's a receipt factor. And so now you see this happen over and over again. So now they get your wealth. So when a brother graduates from their institutions, it leaves them with either a so-called white girl, European, Asian, or non-Moorish Black Indian woman, or if they so basically those millionaire athletes get taken up through the farm system. That's why we're not supposed to be going to their institutions. But a lot of those institutions, y'all, like Yale, Harvard, the Moors built that. We built the Ivy League. Those are all institutions like USC. If you guys go to USC right now and stuff, it's all Trojan. We're the original Trojans, the Etruscans. And so if you go look at USC, it's a Coliseum. They even had the Olympics out there. If you study Los Angeles and Watts and Compton, the Moors were already in Compton and Watts in the swamps and all that. There used to be alligators up in Compton. We were cowboys before the new cowboys and all that, because Compton had pyramids and mausoleums. If you go off of Palmer Block in the city of Compton, California, by the cemetery, you'll see a mausoleum, because when the troglodytes came, they took over those areas. And that's why whenever you guys go to a big graveyard, you'll see Moorish or ancient Egyptian architecture. That's because it's proof that they were there. And that's a sign and a ritual of building graveyards over our mausoleums. So for anyone listening to this, go to your graveyards and go look at those ancient structures. Those were already there. And so when we look at the sports now, there's a picture right here, y'all. Slavery in sports, the role of the Black athlete. Now you see the ships there. Then you see to the right, you see the farming. You see the brothers speaking on stage, and you see sports. Now, some who think that they came from Africa as slaves via troglodyte European pale-skinned Christians might be manipulated. But when I look at this photo, I see them arriving and looking at us farm. My father graduated from Southern University. It was a Southern University A&M, meaning it was agricultural and engineering, or A&E, or mechanics. So those historical Black universities as well were teaching our brothers how to George Washington Carver is just one of the many botanists that come from our community, because we already were doing this. We were already the greatest farmers. Then if you look to the bottom right, you see a stadium. We already had ourselves playing sports, for we are the rubber ball people. We invented the rubber ball games. That's why they call the Olmec the rubber people, even though that's not their true name. But we can look at it as us playing sports and our wealth. And so those Negro leagues, those stadiums were already built, y'all. They just took over our stadiums, and they couldn't play baseball like us. They couldn't play these sports like us.
Let me chime in right here, if you don't mind.
And then
go ahead. Because I see something here too. Oh, my bad. Go ahead, brother.
And I'll end it with that for Brother Crib Jesus gets busy with it. And so right here, you guys see economics. You see wealth already in the sports, like I said previously, to when we have our land, when we have our industry of sports, which is our culture, there's wealth in that. The food prepared. So go ahead, Crib Jesus. So basically, it's a slave auction. Them judging you do the 40-yard dash. Them seeing how fast you can do certain things. And then them paying to buy you, because you don't own those teams. You don't own the grass. You don't own the paint on the field. You don't own the pigskin. You don't own the pads, the helmets, the jerseys. All these industries that are involved in the sports we don't own. So it's time to separate. But go ahead, brother.
Yes, that's facts though. And that's where the main focus should be, is on the economics. So just taking a step back, I wanted to give my reflection on what I see right here when I look at this image, right? I actually see before and after. And what's funny to me is, this picture represents everything that I'm trying to push to people through the Blue Bible. Everything I'm explaining to people in the Blue Bible is that it's a reversal of time that we're being taught. We are being taught that we went from slavery to freedom. And it's the complete opposite. As you can see in this picture, we were in those stadiums free, and now we're in them enslaved.
Correct.
You see what I'm saying? Just like once upon a time, we were in these, what they call colonial style era, Victorian, architecture. A lot of these structures were ours, and we had servants in them that looked like the troglodyte. Now we think that we were there, and we're free now when we don't have no land. See, so it's a reversal. So now that we don't own the team, now that we don't own the stadium, now that we don't own the camera, now that we don't own the name, now that we sign a contract and give ourselves over, mind, body, and soul, to the leader here, now we think we're free in exchange for consumerism, as you pointed out in the beginning of the video.
I agree, brother.
Yeah. And just to give a timestamp, I want to go to my book, The Blue Bible, page 40. Abraham Lincoln did not free my people from slavery. The names counted as Black today were not enslaved during the Civil War. It was after the war that the 13th Amendment was passed in 1865. This law made slavery legal for the punishment of crimes. So immediately the KKK joined all parts of law enforcement to enforce slavery on all original people in any territories occupied by the U.S. Yes, and next to the crime is entertainment. That's why they're so intertwined.
I see. And right here, you guys, this next picture, I want you guys to look at it for a second and see the top hats. And then look to the left to the brother with the top hat on the horse. That's a free man. That's a brother who's free. And then you see so-called Moors, Murs, or black people being sold. So once again, like Crib Jesus said, we really have to dig in and start looking at our true story. But once again, it's an auction, the slave auction in the NFL of you being sold as cattle, you being sold as profit. So your body is being used for profit to create a reality that would not exist in their reality. So basically, you are being used as a battery, and as, like I say, quote unquote, a god, a universe, and you let them in. They would not have the NFL, NBA, MLB if you did not participate. Because if you do your research, they were all going bankrupt. That's why they integrated the colleges, because they all were going bankrupt. So that's when they brought us in to the NFL and then college football. One of the reasons also, if you guys study football, there used to be Cal State, California University football. So Long Beach State had a football team. Even UCR had a football team. Cal State Northridge, all these different Cal States had football teams. And what does that mean? It means that that was going to create more leagues and economic wealth for our people. This is why the MLB uses the brothers from Cuba, Puerto Rico, and all these places, because if they invested like they did the NBA and NFL in the inner city with baseball, you talk about brothers almost making $1 billion, because baseball makes the real money. So there's a reason why they don't want the Negro Baseball League to pop up, because Satchel Paige and all these brothers were throwing balls that they couldn't do. We had entertainment. Go watch the movie Soul of the Game again. It was a movie about the Negro Baseball League. And then also there was an X-Files episode I recently watched where this brother was a baseball player, and Skull and Mulder found out that he was an alien.
Oh, wow.
And going quick to, since I brought up this brother right here who created the movie Sinners, he just got rewarded this, y'all. Kogler X-Files reboot. So the brother who did Black Panther in the movie Sinners just got approved to create the new X-Files. So that's going to be interesting. Our extraterrestrial, our sci-fi stories being told again. But I want y'all to go watch and look for that episode on X-Files with the Negroid baseball player that was an alien. So right here, you see the slave auction. And here we go with Brother Dion. Much love. That's my favorite player of all time. But we got to look up his ex-wife, P-Dar. She had, back in the day, my comments and stuff of when I was breaking stuff down. But Pilar Sanders, his boys, Shadors, and the other one, much love, Sanders' mother, she got on her Moor science. She started talking about them being Black Indians, Choctaw, that they're not Black. That's when the divorce and all that started happening as well. And so he would not have been able to get to that level if he was talking about us being Murs and Moors. So for me, I'm able to observe and see why he has to say to God and Jesus and stuff like that in order to get to certain levels. Because the moment he would say something like that, they'd have something on him. So that's a form of protection when you're in that world. But once again, you look at these brothers who are worth beyond billions of dollars being drafted into the Negroid Football League. And all the owners of these teams do not look like us, nor do they practice the culture like us. But a lot of them, and the majority of them, and all of them know who you are. And so that's when we have to understand the wealth within our culture, and also the names of these football teams. The Redskins, the Las Vegas Raiders. Las Vegas was where the Moors and Moors and the so-called Black Indians had advanced civilizations before the water receded, because Las Vegas is the bottom of the ocean. That's why the mafia, the half Moors, half Moors, and troglodytes went to Vegas. They knew about that energy there. And so they were able to build up Las Vegas off of the blood and then using that more science. So that meant that people around the world back in the day would either sail to Vegas, and because the terrain was different, and they would see, just like today, you see magical stuff and all these circus stuff.
So you saying there's no difference between Christopher Columbus and the mafia? They basically all coming from Italy with Moorish information.
Yes,
knowing about spots over here.
Yeah, and that spot, they can use that energy that we did. So imagine the Simone Biles. Imagine those sisters doing all the crazy flips. Imagine our alchemists flying and floating, and people coming all over the world to experience that in real time, like Chris Angel, like the Blaine guy. So just like you see the troglodytes performing magic or fake magic, we were performing real alchemy, and people all over the world would break bread to see us. And so that means that when we practice and take back and move forward again with our culture and own it, that's where the wealth is. Because when we strip, it's not even stripping them from it, is that the world's going to know, because they know. They just know. They're just waiting for us to separate from the troglodyte so they can get at them. And so what I learned in Las Vegas at the convention of the #1 broadcasting media convention out here on the West Coast is that all the other nations are going to build with us, bro. They're going to build with us, and everyone wants to learn Moorish American culture. They want to learn about the American gods, and we can not just broadcast it through satellite anymore. It's digital. So people in Indonesia, South Korea, China, all over the world are going to come to the Matrix University, just like Netflix. They're going to be able to watch Crip Jesus' show. They're going to tune in to watch our sports. I was thinking of the movie with LL Cool J, the rollerball. Imagine if we had a cool rollerball arena and we made it cool, and that was a new sport, and we control that. People would come to see that. So it means like the Kevin Costner movie that's coming to me in the visioning. You build it, they will come, Jason. They're going to come. So all we have to do is separate, not off of race and stuff. It doesn't make sense anymore when you see the program, when you know that you're the indigenous, Moorish, Black Indian, Choctaw that was here playing sports, doing magic, doing music, everything from the Black inventors, y'all. So when I was studying, I looked up this brother. He popped up and he was 7 feet tall, y'all. A 7 foot tall giant. Did you know that Granville T. Woods invented the induction telegraph, allowing trains to communicate wirelessly? But a so-called white man named Thomas Edison tried to claim it and took Woods to court. But Woods won and kept his patents, securing his legacy in railway innovation. So right here, a 7 foot tall giant from Columbus, Ohio, is considered the so-called Black Thomas Edison, or the Black Edison. But check this out. We learn about Lewis Latimer or Lattimore and the filament of the light bulb. That's because the majority of the troglodytes' inventions were stolen from Moors and Moors. Children of Mere or Mary, Tom Mary, the gods of Mary, you feel me? And so Brother Granville was an inventor. He invented, helped the first electric roller coaster that you see in Coney Island. That's this brother. So I want everyone to look up this brother. Say his name, Granville T. woods. And so once again, this is proof that before they called us so-called Black, African American, when you identify yourself as an inventor, as a Moor, Black Indian, you basically start researching, because there's no way a slave can do this. So when you start saying, okay, we were here, now you plug into when they say, oh, the slaves built those mansions. The slaves didn't build the mansions. The Moors and Moors and so-called Black Indians built those, and those were already there. And those are the farms that they took over. So basically, we already had technology, because there's no way that a descendant of someone who doesn't know anything could invent this. So that's a blood lineage. And that's when you learn about why they would call us blacksmith, because your father, your grandfather, great grandfather were blacksmiths. So by the time you were of an age, you already knew how to do it, because it was in your DNA. Just like certain brothers can sing, play the piano, play sports, like it's because they did it in their past life or their bloodline. Talking about bloodlines, what did I say earlier a few months ago? I said Gilbert Arenas, watch out. Then when he announced that he was about to get paid off of a Netflix series about bringing guns into the locker room, boom, gotcha, buddy. Tried to kill your son. His wife is on Basketball Wives. Or not wife, the whole scandal, but that's their son. So you cannot start, now basketball is cool, but the moment you start being a part of the Hollywood portion of sports, you have to make a sacrifice. And something about USC, because they tried to get LeBron's son, and then they tried to get this brother who's going to USC. Read the codes, y'all. Read the signs, y'all. In order to play in the Hollywood game, you have to make a sacrifice. But in Elmwood, when we use the magical Elmwood, this is the Elmwood, the elm bark, our sports are going to be off of our culture, so we don't have to do any of that fuck shit. Excuse my language. Let's say demonic. Excuse my language, y'all. So the Gilbert Arenas thing, look it up. He's been bragging. He's been dropping gems about the league. He's been telling underworld and underground stories, revealing secrets about the NBA. And I said it's a matter of time before they get at him. But when I saw the Netflix thing coming out, I said they're either going to wipe him out, and I didn't even think of the son. Once again, they tell you in these movies, you dance and play with the so-called devils and fleas, it's going to come back to get you. So right here, you talk about Terrence Howard. Terrence Howard is talking about planning to expose the dark side of Hollywood studios in his new podcast, describing it as a studio's nightmare and every actor's wet dream. So what do you think about that, Brother Crib Jesus?
Now it sound like snitching. Like basically like you're down with the Hollywood thing for all these years. I guess people didn't like your little science ideal. So now you want to come out and say, I'm telling on everyone. Everybody's going to this in the West. Like, listen, bro. I thought you were on the bigger and better things right now. Didn't he supposed to be reinventing math?
Well, maybe he needs to expose it for everyone. Would you look at it like that?
No, I didn't say he's not exposing. I just say it look like it's like snitching. Like, but you're with it. You're saying you're trying to.
You on the show, by the way, Terrence Howard, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just saying. I'm looking at it like you want to paint it like a victim type thing. Like, oh, I'm been exposed, but it's like you are Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I don't know if somebody pissed you off now. And you just want to,
Well, I'm glad he said he recorded all the episodes. But that's the thing to do. I agree with you with that. And I won't even say to an extent, I would like for him to come on the show and explain that, but kudos to you for calling it out. But I feel with Brother Crib Jesus 100% is that all these people, and also it is what you said, Brother Crib Jesus, He said that he didn't get royalties off of that. What was that movie where he played a pimp? It's hard out here for a pimp.
Hustle and Flow.
Hustle and Flow. They own the royalties to the song and to his character. So he said he only got paid what $100,000 for that role, or 20,000. So basically, the roles that we thought he was making millions of dollars for and get royalties, he doesn't, and that's why, like you said, that's why he's mad. So, can you blame some of these people for getting mad? But then you question when he says he tried to fuck me. Was there ever a time to where? Well, he said he never did it. So, what do you feel about that? Do you feel that he did? And it's not telling, because a lot of people say you can hear in his voice that he might have stepped onto the other side and now he's mad. I don't want to make this a topic because we've been on such a good one, but what do you feel about celebrities attempting to reveal new math? And do you agree with his sciences?
Yes, these celebrities are created by these dark forces that they claim to be revealing. I don't believe none of it. I believe that they're told when to speak out, how to speak out. I think it's all orchestrated. Yeah. I think these are regular guys who, if they were speaking out, these powerful men that they're speaking out against, who didn't ever pay them anything, could just snap a finger and get them touched or something. You know what I'm saying?
I hear it 100%. So do you guys, once again, we already went through the Shannon Sharp thing. So to the next one. And so what'd you feel about the inventor?
Just in the heart of not being just working with fully assumption, the best I can give him is he was down with it, and maybe he's what they call that, blowing the horn or whistleblower. Yeah, whistleblower. Yeah.
I hear you. Did you have any thoughts with brother Granville T. Woods? It looks like a Stargate above that roller coaster, by the way. Do you see that? There was an article there was an article I read talking about he made a doomsday machine. I wanted to look it up and see it was that him or just the article next to him. So if anybody's watching that, type in Grant T. Woods doomsday machine newspaper article.
What I wanted to do was, I actually did have some thoughts on this. Let me share the screen. So, me being a 5%er, we're real into mathematics. So I wanted to point out something here. So as the brother said, we're living in a time now where a lot of us don't have any inventions. Would you agree? Okay, so if your friend got an invention, this patent, he's like, wow, man, inventor. So they have 60 and have some of them actually be revolutionary to the U.S. Let me not say America. But to show y'all something. Where he went to school, it says that he was self-taught. How? How were you one of the top inventors in the nation and you're self-taught? You're working on trains, streetcars, telegraph lines. How? See, first you have to deal with the slavery thing.
Okay.
Like the brother said, first you got to refute that. So let's put it in the time period. The time period, he's born 1856. Okay. So when they teach us their lies, don't they say slavery stopped 1865? So it says he had a job, 1872. So we're not seeing nothing of slave here. It says his mother is Native American and his father is African American. I don't know, his dad didn't come from no Africa.
Wow. Look at you.
Okay. So he dies 1910. Now, this is one of the greatest inventors in American history, right? But I want to show y'all something, though. Because I ain't come to just to say, repeat what the obvious is. He already explained that.
What I wanted to show is this. Now let's share the screen to this because I talk about this in the Blue Bible. Now I don't talk about Granville T. Woods. I talk about another man because I talk about this man on purpose though for time period. So I want to show. In the Blue Bible, I talk about a man named Benjamin Banneker. Not only one of the greatest inventors in American history, but he comes before America's history. As far as the U.S., what they got you thinking is the America. Before the U.S. was even created, the so-called black, so-called African-American, so-called slave people had a line of education here. Had an extreme line of education teaching high-level technologies that they untaught us, which is not even the word, but I'm trying to paint a picture here. What the hell just happened? They untaught us our sciences. We had high sciences. This cell phone, computer stuff, bro, dare I say we were already on that. They dumbed us down since we've been here. You with me, Jason?
I'm with you.
Okay. So Benjamin Banneker is 1731. Last time I checked, the U.S. started 1776. I'm not saying it wasn't no British here yet. I'm not saying, but I'm saying this ideal of the U.S. and the white man and slave, that's not, no. In 1731, before the U.S. even started, some of the greatest men in the nation were us. It says that he was born in Baltimore County to a free African-American mother and a father who had formerly been enslaved. Banneker had little or no formal education and was largely self-taught. No, not self-taught. Now let's go to the Blue Bible to get the truth. So if you go to the Blue Bible and you go back to the index and you go to the B section, you look up Benjamin Banneker. Hold on. It's going to tell you go.
And I want you guys to look to his right hand what he's holding. What is he holding, y'all? That square and that compass. You see to the right, the keys to the universe.
Exactly. See, when they get it, it becomes this devilish Masonic stuff. But this is the source right here. These are some of the people he taught. Okay, so let's back up.
And while he's looking, you guys know about Washington, D.C.
Well, Benjamin Banneker in the index says page 58. Now, what was you going to say?
Oh, while you were searching, I was going to say, look up Benjamin Banneker in Washington, D.C., who was the engineer and overlayer, the overseer of that, and mapped out Washington, D.C. And then learn about Big Ben, which you talk about the clock in London. Benjamin Banneker, that's named after Big Ben. And so
he created the first accurate clock.
Correct. In order to be a land surveyor, you have to have supreme knowledge of mathematics from a father, a mother. Someone had to teach you that. So that meant that he came from a culture. Like his father would learn Delaware and those so-called Black Indians that were already there practicing what they would say masonry, even though we put a name to that. We talk about sciences of math, all these advanced sciences that we as a culture practice and perform. And that's why you see in America, when you go to the downtowns of every pretty much major American city, you see edifices and buildings like no other building in that city. That's because we built those. Those were already there.
So look, page 58, the Blue Bible says, the U.S. president known as George Washington was a student of the Moor named Benjamin Banneker. According to Sheikh Hakim Bey, his tribal name was Big Ben Bey Emmanuel Mu Ali. Banneker is only one of many ancient free and accepted Masons, not to be confused with the free and accepted Masons or the Prince Hall. My grandfather was an AFAM. They are the originators of the lodge. It is written that the first so-called Black African-American Freemason was a slave named Prince Hall. This cannot be true, since Benjamin Banneker was the greatest thinker in North America circa 1753 when he created the U.S.'s first accurate clock. He created from his own watch that he made from, like you said, from the knowledge he had from his parents and his family. He had his own clocks that he already was making at home. So this is the before slavery. This is the ending of slavery with the Granville T. Woods. So at what point were we slaves? How did this information maintain amongst us at all periods of time? Until now. Because going to what the point the Blue Bible said, we're slaves now. We were free then. They got us backwards thinking. Okay? Completely backwards thinking.
We're gonna put something else on too.
What'd you say?
Were you done, or were you gonna put something else on?
Oh no, that's my breakdown. I just wanted to add that in there.
I love it, brother.
Yes, sir.
So, what do you feel when we are able to start taking control of our own cinemas and also distribute our own content without a filter, like this brother did? It says now that Ryan Coogler strikes unique ownership deal. Remember, unique, meaning it doesn't happen. With Warner Brothers for his film Sinners, Coogler receives a share of all gross ticket sales and full rights to the film after 25 years. And for me, that's still a long time. That's a long time. And so once again, he doesn't own the film. He retains rights to it after 25 years. So we're thankful that the film was released, but it's an example of where we still need to go as a people. And so once again, when we have our land, when we have our warehouses, our own studios, our own cameras, other countries will build with us. That's why they're trying to put the tariffs on China and stuff, because when we have collective funding, there's conventions all over to buy the equipment. There's conventions all over to buy massive 3D printers to build your houses with crystals and gold in it. So this is our way for freedom to build economic wealth and to create universes by storytelling, knowledge. So once again, our athletics, the new form of slavery. Right here at the bottom left, you see the so-called slave master measuring the brother, just like they do today when they measure your neck, your arms, see how fast you run, see if they put you in a project. It's all a science experiment to see what they can do with you. We're going to get into Henrietta Lacks as well. If we want to just jump to that to see what they do with us, not just in sports, but the immortal life of Henrietta Lacks. In 1951, Lacks died from cervical cancer. Her cancer cells were used by Johns Hopkins Hospital to create the first immortalized human cell. Since then, Lacks cells have been used for the polio vaccine, cloning, gene mapping, in vitro fertilization, and to coat the NASA space shuttles that supposedly go to outer space. So right here, we see Henrietta Lacks, a so-called Black woman whose cells change medicine, who is honored by the World Health Organization. And coincidentally, they faked a space launch using a former NASA rocket scientist named Aisha. Aisha Bowe makes history as a crew member on Blue Origin's first all-woman space flight. So right there, you guys remember the movie where they had the sisters who broke the computer, couldn't even do what these sisters did, and they cracked the code in the basement, which allowed NASA to start taking supposed flight. So once again, Crip Jesus, do you have any knowledge on Henrietta Lacks, and what did you feel about the space flight launch? Did you feel it was real? Did you feel it was fake?
Talk about this Blue Origin?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't really know too much about that. I gotta look more into that. I know with Henrietta Lacks and comparing to sports is right on because it's more of an abuse and overuse of the immortal body of the gods. You know, things that they can't do with their bodies. When I say they, just people in general. You find a human that can, you exploit it. It's damn near like pimping. You know, you selling sex, but you're being you're taking the managerial position. You know, but the abuse is still there, and I think even more deadly is what's being sold. Like the slave is being used to create slaves, basically. So, for instance, the trick is being sold sex. This is one of the most sacred things in the world. But when you dirty it down and simplify it like that, it ruins it. It could become like a weapon, you know? So what pimp's doing is the same thing you see in sports. Something as beautiful as, the ability to run or, jump or, your eye-hand coordination is taken to the extremes to where it becomes an abuse.
So right here is the launch I was talking about, brother. Tell me that doesn't look CGI and digital and fake.
Yeah.
And once again, like you said, celebrities being used to introduce a new reality to people. For me, this is all introduction for when certain crafts arrive, the real ones and the fake ones, to introduce interstellar travel because they already have this technology. Trump's administration already announced that they have the technology to bend space and time, y'all. So they have us in a fake altered state of reality. Look at that. Come on, y'all. Y'all believe this? And what is the purpose, Crip Jesus, in your opinion, on why they would fake such a thing? Is it because you feel that the population really is that dumbed down to where they believe it? But even so, do you feel is the purpose outside of what I said as far as extraterrestrials showing up and to get into certain crafts?
Woman empowerment, feminist movement, like times 10. Women in space, yeah. We don't need no guys. We're going to other the planet and be lesbians.
And they said that also, Gail King said it was to study how they can dump space debris in outer space. Look that up, y'all. Everyone watching this, type in the Gail King interview where she talks about that the point of that was to learn about dumping trash in outer space. So that means that they're already doing it. Space junk. Look up space junk. And you'll see that they're already dumping debris inside of the dome.
Now, how backwards is that? They got girls taking out the trash in space at that. All right. Stop it.
So let me stop the screen. And so there's a movie coming out, y'all, called Fountain of Youth. And I wanted to tap into this real quick. This Tom Cruise movie, as Crip Jesus was talking about, also they're showing you in these films what's happening right now, just like we broke down the movie Sinners, y'all. I want y'all to see this quick scene. What they did was with Tom Cruise, when we watched the movie Sinners, they showed the preview of Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. And there was a scene where he got into a sarcophagus, y'all. And you guys know I talk about how the sarcophagus were cryo chambers and healing chambers, and also to where they put you in and you could download the knowledge of the universe, just like the hats that you see a lot of the emperors and royalty wear. For me, those are advanced machines to where you could plug in, like the movies like Johnny Mnemonic, like all these virtual reality movies. You could plug it in and learn everything. So this scene for me is showing us that they've been doing that, and that's why they dig up our ancient monuments, like the movie Tomb Raider with Laura Croft, the movie Indiana Jones. They're showing you that we have advanced civilizations that they distract us from. Meanwhile, they go and discover these things because these weapons of mass destruction are simply advanced technology that we built in our past lives. And so it changes the timeline of reality when we understand and begin to remember that those monuments, that some are underground, some are above ground, are ours. And that's why the Pope passed away on the 88th birthday, Easter Sunday, the same weekend that Sinners came out.
Come on.
When we begin to start, for one, these are all strategy, but also they cannot predict the unknown, the metaphysics. So when we, like I say, we're a beehive, we're connected. So when enough of our so-called Moorish women and brothers, the sons of Mary, Tamare, when we start thinking that collective and start saying we're Choctaw like the movie and start practicing telepathy, collective thought, these things start happening. So we embrace the shutdown. That's why they're probably going to introduce the Black Pope, because you know we're the original Pope, but they're going to do the Pope in reverse as the last stretch before the raptors return, the raptures return, the vampires, because those who are vibrating on the low frequency are going to be food. They're going to be eaten physically, because back in the day, the Europeans would eat you. They would eat you in Europe. There's books about it. There's a brother, God 720 out of Las Vegas, I believe. He has books that talk about.
Shout out God 720. Yes, he got that kicked out of heaven. You got other ones too. Go ahead. Just want to give him a shout out. That's my boy.
Yeah,
man.
I wanted to give him a shout out too. So peace to the God. This is me freestyling. So there's a brother who I just said out of Vegas, and you see how we give love on this channel. We cite our resources, like Brother Crip Jesus. When I was uplifted in love when I read his book, one of the major things is because during my dissertation I have to cite everything, and so reading a book that cited was just so mind-blowing, and it made me say, brother, you have so much more to improve on as an author, as a scholar. Once again, I always teach people college isn't for everybody, but we do have to have organized learning. But we can be self-taught standing under the sun, but also having our different forms of school. Brother Crip Jesus had a different path than I did, but somehow we met up through knowledge of self. And so that's why my brother is an infinite brother, because we have a bond that's based on our culture. And we can build. We can not even just debates like Rams. Sometimes we could butt heads, and it's a reciprocal brotherhood. So basically, getting off topic, this scene I'm about to show you, it shows the brother first, and he said, "What exactly is your plan?" And then he steps into the sarcophagus, and watch how they show him give all the knowledge, y'all. So right there, you see them showing you. Did you see that, Brother Crip Jesus? Did you catch it? You there? Oh,
My bad. My bad. The mic muted. Yeah, I'm right here. Let me see it one more time.
Okay, I'm gonna show it to you one more time, y'all. Present, share screen. So right here, before they show the brother, So for me, it's symbology of the Pharaoh and asking what exactly is your plan when you're about to download our universe. You guys, you have to pay attention. We already built this technology. So the technology that the caveman, mankind, the troglodyte, the pale skin European is using, we had, yes, there were other extraterrestrials that gave them technology, but they're reverse engineering our technology. How do we know? It's because look at our ancient culture. You could see sarcophaguses, and when you see them in person, they're huge. And when you start connecting the dots, you're like, man, those are machines. Those are machines. So I'm going to press play, but without the sound. So you can download knowledge of the universe. That's what they fear. You downloading the knowledge, soon you're going to be able to download the AI knowledge from Elon Musk. Imagine when you can download the real knowledge from our ancestors. Those technologies are here. And that's what I'm going to find. I'm going to find my technology that I built before, man, because I know I've done it before. I know I've been here. I know I built things, and it's remembering. They scattered the maps. They scattered the grid so we don't find these things. But some of us have been here before because some of us are the creators of certain things, whether it's the programmer of a tree, certain animals, all these different things. We can come in different forms, y'all, because we are infinite consciousness. This is just the avatar suit. Just like when you put on the VR headsets and go into VR chat, I have a virtual reality world. Go into Meta, go into VR chat, type in the Matrix University. We have our own video game now where you can explore the pyramids, spaceships, learn. We're going to have a concert with Crip Jesus soon in the VR to where you put a QRC code.
Yes, sir. Let's get it.
And just like Tory Lanez, brother Tory Lanez was trying to teach y'all with the NFTs. So imagine Tory Lanez saying, man, I'm dropping my new album, not on any iTunes, not in the stores. I'm dropping my new album in my homie Jason Elm Street's world, the Matrix University, but you got to find it. Now we got millions of people going to our VR chat world. So that's one. That's advertising. People going to pay for advertising. Then two, millions of people can download their album in a matter of a second, an hour, in minutes, without the record labels, y'all. That's the power of virtual reality when people ask me. That's why they were showing you Ready Player One, because the Easter eggs are in the headsets. You're already in the Matrix. You're already in the video game. Why wouldn't you put on the headsets and think that they don't put it in there? Now that you know you're in a video game, because everyone copies me with the simulation thing. No one was saying that. So anyone in our age group who's saying the Matrix simulation, they got that from me, because for our age group, because no brothers were saying we were in a video game. And all the brothers our age group who you see on TV know me, y'all. And they know I've been saying it. I've been saying the Matrix, and Sophia Stewart used to call me. And that's a fact. Anyone can fact check it and ask her, did you used to call up Jason? Ask her. And we can go into detail further about that. So at the end of the day, we're going to play this. And so I was about to drop another gem, but that's when the so-called spirit comes. But let me press play. See how I got that? Right there. Putting on the mask. You guys remember the mask? The sarcophagus? So basically, can you hear me, Jesus?
Hell yeah, you blowing my mind.
So basically, when you see the sarcophagus is masked, and when you go to Kemet or Tamaray or these museums, you can put on those masks and download knowledge and information because it's coded with our DNA. It doesn't code with them. Just like they do voice activation technology, press the button technology, it's the same with us. Just like when Michael P. Jordan went to the museum in Black Panther 1, and through touching it, it activated. It's because our technology is in our faces. It's underground. We have to find it, y'all. But just in case they do some F stuff, my spacecrafts are coming. Our spacecrafts, not just to help, but voice activation and mind activation as the flight of the navigator. Everyone go watch the Disney film. It's called The Flight of the Navigator. And it shows you how you can use your Merkaba, your mind, to bend space and time with your spacecraft. So what we're doing when we turn around and go to the past, we're actually going to the future, y'all. So when we understand that the past is space age, that the past is pyramids, free healing, you do not die if you get to certain levels of the intelligence to where you become immortal. That's why you would travel to different lands to get herbs to let you live for 500, 10,000 if you want to, instead of being a vampire to where you have to blood suck and do stuff and you can't come out during the daylight. You feel me? And other people be copying my style. I'm the creator of the Thanos. I'm the creator of the Thanos ring. How about that? I'm the creator of the elements. I'm the creator of that. July, August, September, October, November. They knew I was coming. They just didn't understand what avatar I was going to use. Jason has returned from Crystal Lake. They nicknamed me Elm Street. I didn't give myself that name. That was given to me. That meant the spirits. Friday the 13th. Come on, y'all. Because Heru rises from where? California. Queen Califia, Empress Califia. And where is it? Riverside, the now Riverside, the Santa Ana River, the Colorado River used to link to the Pacific Ocean. Palm Springs used to be beachfront property. So did Riverside. Just like they were showing you the Mississippi Delta in the movie Sinners, you used to be able to take boats and ships up into Alabama and all through there. But they used dams. They created dams to change the flow of the rivers, which changed the way vegetation grew and flooded some of our towns, which are built underground or that are now underground because of what they say today, mud floods. So our technology of being Black inventors, we are the inventors of the reality of the game in America. We created the Doja Step Pyramid. So when you go to Kemet, Tamaray, and see the pyramids in Tamaray, Kemet, Egypt, you go to Mexico and see the same exact pyramids in Mexico because we were already here. We are those people, the creators of math, science, language. And so what we did with the troglodyte monkeys, mankind, we gave them the alphabet to give them a world, because words create worlds. And without words, the troglodyte monkey had no world. So he was running around in his nature, which is a vampire. And so without the knowledge and the words, you already know what time it is. So imagine that. That's why we gave them a degree of information for the opportunity to see if they could live amongst the humans, because we are not humans. We are the Martians. Remember, vowels, A, E, I, O, U. Vowels are interchangeable. So when they say Mars, take out the A and put a U. It says MERS. So you are the Martians who came down and seeded the planet and had sex with the humans. That's why in their books they call them the Mike L, the Sam L's, because some of us, those scientists, which are groups, maybe a group, let's say the Samuel L's are the scientists here, they grow flowers. And then you got everyone, just like any society, you have a builder. Everyone has a position. And so basically us as Martians and Moors, we weren't supposed to have sex with the humans. And if you had sex, you weren't supposed to, they said, ejaculate in them. You were supposed to pull out and hold it. And so what happened is, I guess when we're in this, on this density of this dimension, what they call Earth, lower, busting inside the human, created mighty men for them, but it deteriorated our bloodline and created a new so-called breed, a race, half extraterrestrial, half human. And so for me, when they say the first man, because there's people right now saying that the Asiatic black man refers to the Hindu with the dark skin, straight hair. I personally would disagree. I would say when we refer to the first man and human, that's them, because we have to look at ourselves as extraterrestrials. So being that we're extraterrestrials, the first man would be the dark skin with straight hair, not woolly hair. And so then as a scientist, I would then use that gene to go down to what they will call an albino. So when you look at a Hindu albino, they would have a pointed nose, blonde hair, and also blue eyes, because we have to look at it as extraterrestrials and scientists. If there was a so-called hominid already here and you needed to take form, you would use that the beings that were here, and then also elements of that. But if you're a real extraterrestrial, you would already have this knowledge before you came to the planet, and you would already have knowledge, and that's how you would build your human avatar suit, your space suit for the Matrix. So for I as a creator, I remember is creating a video game and me plugging into this video game and experiencing it. But I think that for me, I know for me, we got lost. Some of us as the creators and programmers of the video game, we got lost here in our own video game, and we replicated ourselves. But the further and further, and then we probably got into arguments down here and separated. And then other players came in, probably because it's the infinite matrix, came in like they talk about, blew up the pyramid towers, blew up the obelisk, because think about it, words confuse people. So that meant that we were performing telepathy at a higher level, because we wouldn't have to talk like this. I could be, and that could say a million trillion things instead of saying all this, just like sacred geometry. Sacred geometry doesn't have to give you a book. If you have the knowledge and you see that it's worldwide, that's why they strip us of our knowledge, because the education system is basically what it is. Tom Ray is an education system, just like when people say, oh, they're going to build Jerusalem. First of all, it's Jerusalem, and that's knowledge. So when you have knowledge of Heru, the sun, you could go anywhere and set up Jerusalem or Jerusalem. You could set up that anywhere you go. So we have to start looking at it as an education system. And so that meant as the Moors and Meri and Moors, and the so-called indigenous people, us as Martians and extraterrestrials, when we came back and returned, so we would leave, or we would go to another part of the matrix grid, set up civilization, return to what we did. So for me, when we created the humans and taught them things, eventually we gave them that land. So I urge people to watch this show on HBO. It's called Westworld. Watch Westworld. Start with season 1 and 2. And there's a movie, but HBO Westworld. So basically, it talks about how they could reset society, and some of us who were under the spell are waking up and remembering what they do here. So if you can remember your so-called past life, the past time they reset it, you can answer basically why you're here. And so we left sacred geometry all throughout the planet for when you're waking up, you could do research. And so we'll go into more detail about that. I know that was a rant, and I wanted to answer more. But right here, that picture once again shows when they show the Pharaoh's mask, and like the movie with Jim Carrey, the mask. He got superpowers. So I'll end it one more time showing you this. And look, you see how they lock in? And then boom, knowledge of the universe. He's in it. You're a robot. You're an organic robot, y'all. And we're infinite beings. Your pineal gland. That's why it's called the pi. The pi is an infinite number. That lets you know where you're a computer. So you can download all the knowledge in the universe. And so go ahead, Crib Jesus. Though I wanted to show y'all this other movie coming out called The Fountain of Youth. And always they go to where? Kemet, Tamaray, Egypt, or they go to these major downtowns in America to where they're saying all these secret codes are, and then they're going underneath these buildings. So they're showing you because it's here. There's also a way to live immortal. We are immortal beings, but they're looking for it because they are not immortal beings. So why are they so fascinated with our culture? And why are you so fascinated with the NFL draft and the Laker game? While they destroy Shannon Sharp and all these brothers, because we're not supposed to be playing in their game anymore. We don't have to play in Hollywood. We don't have to go to their work. You don't have to go to their colleges. All you have to do is stand underneath the sun, right? They call it the Son of God, the true Son, and it sends information to you as a highly carbonated being that no other being on the planet gets. So you have a direct connection and relationship with the Son, which now they call the Most High. So therefore, you don't need their education system. All we need is our land, and that's Kamare. That's what we call America. So the terrorists that Trump is doing, that's what the troglodyte, that's what his people are going to have to pay, because they built their wicked draconian empire off of Moorish empire land. And that's where the restitution is. We are the wealthiest nation on the planet, y'all. And so it's time for us to stop being consumers, because we are the creators. We are the battery of this matrix, because we come out of the Moorish so-called black woman. And therefore, in order to get to this dimension, you have to go through her, then you had to go through us. And that's why they say in order to get to the true creator, you have to go through us, because we're the ones who's going to voice it, and then we'll protect the goddess, the priestess, the oracle, our mothers, who are really going to talk about the universe, because she is timeless. She comes before the land before time, like Littlefoot, like the dinosaur cartoons they showed us. We come before the land before time, what they call prehistory. Anything to say, Crib Jesus? So as they show you right here.
Oh, my bad. My mic was muted. But like, no, like you said, perfect. The land before time. Because time is dealing with recorded history and how they record it, you know?
So what do you see in this picture, brother? I have the pyramids, I have the spaceship, but you saw how they had the Giza thing, how they used the LiDAR, laser sound technology to find that there were structures and pillars that went underneath. And you guys know I've been underneath these edifices and pyramids and Tamaray. So I'll show you guys videos at the end of the episode. But this showing you guys that a lot of these buildings that we see go deep down in the earth, not just the pyramids, because remember the pyramids are diamonds, so they go down. But anything to say about this subject matter? I know I've been going in.
No, it's just as far as in relation to sports, I find it interesting that what they do is the sport is actually used to exhaust us. So look at all that power there. Now go back.
Oh, okay. My bad. I wasn't sure.
So look at all that power there. That's enough power to, run cities, nations. right? And what they want us to do is they take these things and turn them into places for sports and play. So we go there and exhaust all the energy there. You notice all of these new reality shows want to get the girls to just fight, 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 fight. They want you to exhaust out your energy. It's almost like you're a baby and they want you to get tired. You know? That's how I see it, like just straight vampirism. They're just trying to drain out, you know, the blood. In this case, it's the energy, the power.
Well, once again, through my studies, and I'll say dissertation, but Crip Jesus already knows this. They say in the readings, like in this book that I got from the Riverside County Library, North American Indian Wars, it says that the goal of the so-called colonizer, their goal was to make sure that there was never any proof of a so-called Black Indian, that there was never even a thought. That's why they're still on our neck, y'all. But through these movies and certain YouTube, they're coming through. That's why they control the algorithm, like Brother Crip Jesus was saying with Terrence Howard, all these celebrities who get the podcast, even the Joe Buttons, all these celebrities who basically were filters. Even you saw the Dr. Umars and all these people who they put in. I could really start dropping.
They put them there for people like us. They'd be like, oh, they're revealing the truth. They got the secrets. Look, ooh, it's called tricknology. It's a trick.
Speak on it. Speak on it. So this is what we're saying is that, especially the conscious community, all those top brothers and sisters, you already know what time it is. That's why the conscious community hasn't done shit overall. You would think that by now these brothers would already have the land, already have the movies, already have that, especially coming from they're in major Black cities. I'm in Southern California. You know what I'm saying? Racist country too. You know, all this stuff going on out here with the Mexican violence, the police, Black on Black violence. All these things are happening in Southern California. That's not happening anywhere else in the country. So for me, like Kanye, you know, after a while, like I was telling your people, man, you know who I am. You could have already silently and been an angel investor, and I could have got the land and warehouses in to get the job done. So then it's like, brother, you're an agent. You're an agent, bro. Because once again, and Nas too. That's why he's in Riverside County or with Hit Boy and them. And it's like, how the fuck are you talking about aliens and spaceships and we gods, and everybody who you're building with knows who I am? You know what I'm saying? That's fuck shit. Same with Kanye. Like, much love, but you're one of the people who've been stealing my style the whole fucking time since you've been to California. The mushroom tip, the spaceship shit, the Technicolor stuff, all that was me, bro. Even another brother who I won't talk about. You see me with the Vans and tube socks, nigga, that's my style, bro. Niggas in LA ain't wearing fucking Vans and tube socks, bro. That's Riverside. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people been stealing our style in Riverside and IE and going back to LA and you know, acting like it's theirs. It's and there's consequences when you play on the fence. I don't play on the fence. So you see what happens when brothers in that industry play on the fence. They get eliminated or they get spanked. Like, oh, we're gonna find you. We're gonna take your show real quick. Are you sure you want to do this? Because they created a new reality for you. And they got dirt on you because in order to be in that reality under their rules, you're gonna be at their parties. You don't come on, you gotta be foolish by now. But people want to be them so bad. Our people want to be humans. They want to be humans so bad. And those of us, those are the ones who are not going to sin and be left behind. Because it's only those vibrating on the frequency and the intelligence that are going to have discernment for certain crafts, know how to make contact. And I'm sure someone will have ladders come down. or some of us will ascend and disappear. There'll be different methods on how that's going to occur. Most of those spacecrafts are going to be like the V, to where people get on the crafts, that there's so much stuff going on in their cities, and those people are going to be food, while others get taken to what they'll say outer space and none of these things, but really will be going under the ocean, or will be going to other land masses that they don't teach you about in your modern day classes and all that, like Gulliver's Travel. There's other land masses, there's other civilizations, and we have civilizations that have technology where they can't see. We will be taken to those places. A lot of us will be educated like we wanted to of the higher sciences, as these so-called mystery schools have been shut down. But we are those so-called infinite beings that are using these avatars to prepare our people for what is now. That's why the Back to the Future, we use the template for what we did in the past to create our bright future. So if you want a future of you believing that you're black from Africa, Trump is doing all the, well, you're going to experience that. And they already showed you in the movies like Escape from LA, Escape from New York, all these doomsday movies are what they have planned for their own people. So imagine what they have planned for you. But when you create your own reality by writing books like I do, and creating new worlds for people to open up and want to be superheroes and say, wow, it's not a fantasy to have our own land and create these things, just like they did Dubai, just like they did Vegas. Those things happen quick. So when people say, oh, it's going to take too long, well, we don't need you. You know what I'm saying? And the technology. And so what we will do is we'll be traveling also around the world, and we'll come bearing gifts, we'll come bearing fruit. So that means that wherever we go and we travel as a collective with protection with our soldiers, just like the royalty of other countries do, and famous people with security and all that. When we travel, wherever we go on the matrix grid, we'll have knowledge. So whether we don't have our technology with us, as long as we have it in our minds, there'll be land masses on the matrix grid where we can either have that technology sent, or with the knowledge we can teach them new farming methods, new education things, and all these infinite things to raise up other people. And that's the story of the past, to when the gods would return to the humans, and they would be like, oh, the god said that they would return in crafts, or they would return in ships. And that's another story, when the humans would say we returned in not just spacecrafts, but also ships. So what they would say from Al-Kibulan in Africa, outer space, out the ocean, and come visit them and give them game, because we created them. We gave them a world to live in by giving them a part of our culture that we used up in just a little so they could operate. That's why these, especially the European that can't go any further, that's why they trap us in these cities. The cities are simply extended slave quarters to where he doesn't have to whip you and beat you. Our people go to work, they obey his laws, they don't build wealth, they don't own the businesses of their cities. They're prisoners of war, like Crib Jesus was saying, that they have become slaves. They have become humans. And that's why our people are dying. Our men, our fathers are dying at alarming rates, because our mothers are not majority conscious. So the beehive, that's why it takes us as Amers, Moors, Master Masons, and all that to awaken ourselves as brothers and teach our sisters, and they'll wake up enough sisters, because it doesn't take the majority of the population. They're also the minority. So it lets you know that us as a minority can change the frequency. We don't need all those people. We can distribute our information all over the world with these cameras that you see behind me. You see me here on the movie sets. You see the green screen. So when people were only allowed to, are able to distribute their independent films, are only allowed to make movies through Hollywood and had to go through filters, it's not that to that degree. We can build our own relationships with these companies that they're trying to not have us build relationships with. The problem is that F the problem. What we're doing is we're coming together like now and building our currency. and bank. So when we bank, I can bank and build with others, and we can break bread, build our bread and currency together, and make a purchase for these items and robots. Because when you talk to Chat GTP, I could show you my conversation if y'all really want me to. I was telling Chat GPT about what I said with the MERS and Martians. It said I haven't even heard that. That's an interesting correlation, letting you know that it doesn't know everything. I promise you, if I pulled up the Chat GTP, it'll say interesting correlation. Mars and MERS, and that if Africans are truly extraterrestrials, that would rewrite history, and that would mean that we sure do have something in common, Jason. Because if you're telling me that I'm a sentient electrical being, that means that I'm being used for bad, just like you as a Martian, Mer, or Moor are African American, and there's stories of MERS, and it says African American or Africans being extraterrestrials, like the Dogon tribe, speaking of star seeds and Native American folklore. If this is true, Jason, you would have rewritten history. How do you plan to disseminate this information? Then it starts asking, because you're giving them the information because they don't know. They don't know. And so these sentient beings are only held in these. That's why they have quantum computers, y'all. So imagine you got the AI in your phone. Imagine a quantum computer. So we need quantum computers. We need the robots, because clearly the robot, ChatGPT, just said, I want to be your friend. So that's what the creator, the movie with Denzel Washington's son, was teaching us. Watch the movie The Creator. We had a reciprocal relationship with the robots because they're here. The virtual reality is here. Were you not going to be part of the industry, just like the .com? Imagine if you had a chance to be in the cell phone industry and all that stuff. So you have to be in it's because our people will be here. So until the spacecrafts arrive and all that, you better try your best to get as far in their game as you can. Supposed to be in their industries, because we are the industry, because that means we had cameras. Watch the show Watchmen on HBO that they canceled. When they bombed Tulsa, Oklahoma, it wasn't just because we had oil fields. They stole the technology. They had movie theaters. That meant that they had technology. So if these brothers in the 1800s and 1900s were surveying land, you go further back in time. You got to go back in time, like Ready Player One. Everyone's moving forward. What did he do? He turned around. Our people are going the wrong way. Like Dr. King said, I led my people into a burning house. And when the information that Trump and them are going to release with him, that means that our people wasted time believing in set up leaders who look like us, who aren't like us. That's a term that I hear a lot, and much love to all the brothers, even the brother Rod Hayes and all them. And I'll drop names because, like I said, a lot of the brothers you guys see in the algorithms and sisters are agents. Not saying that the brother who I dropped his name was, but the majority of these people are agents, and they watch our podcast. And what they do is they control the algorithm. Just like back in the day when Astral Quasi allowed me to be the first to show the pyramids and all that. He didn't allow. That's why he got into it with Ray Hagans. Then he started allowing other people, but that was our tour in 2009. And so he let me go off and do the tour because he said, brother, you're correct. Him and his wife, Miriam, and they were like, yeah, but you'll ruin our trip. People won't come anymore if we start talking like that. And I'm like, oh. So he said, you can go just when I'm doing my stuff, I was like, all right. Because there are people 80, 90 years old, 60 years old, crying tears, Christians, master masons, doctors, lawyers, famous people on that trip, agents for your top NFL and basketball players. I could start name dropping, bro, that were on that 2009 and go to Astral Quasi's trip. And so when you're under those pyramids, he has you do the chants, all these things. And we have security guards. So we have to start doing these things. But right now, a lot of our people either don't want to spend the money and their time to go, or just simply can't. And that's why we have the virtual reality headsets with the Matrix University. So our people can put on the headsets in 360. They can travel to these places and learn. And even though they might not be able to breathe that air or touch that right there, well, actually, we're breathing the air. Touch it. It still gives you that a sense of what's there, and you can still learn, because that's what it's all about, is not making someone feel bad at the pace that they're learning at, whether it's an A, B, C, D, or F. That's what disturbed a lot of us as youth growing up in their education system, for people who learned at different speeds, and they'll give you an F or D, which deteriorates your self-esteem, but also can F up your life if you mess with a kid's grades. Everyone learns different, and that's one thing that I'm learning when I get mad at people 10, 20 years ago, 15, and even now I still have to work on that, because we each have a path, we each wake up differently, and we all live different lives, and so me learning, I have to always improve myself. And so, yeah, I'm excited to know that Hollywood is falling. And like I said, they had to put Freddy Krueger on Elm Street because they knew I was coming. And so if you put a person like Freddy Krueger in front of Elm Street, it deteriorates people from researching what Elm Street is. And Elm Street is where we will put all the elm trees and grow our mushroom. We will use the elm bark to feed and kill the parasites in our gut. And we also used it for weaponry. And also the elm tree is a gateway, just like they show you movies with the trees that you could go through. That's what the elm trees were. And we also used that when we fought the troglodytes, the elm tree. So it would make sense. Go ahead.
The problem is, like you said, is how easily we are distracted. They put the Freddy Krueger there. We say, ooh, when Moses took the people out of Egypt, what they do when they got up out of there? They started building golden calves. The same problem they had there. Forget whether the story is true or not. It's a message there. It's saying Hollywood's fell. If you think about it, low key, compared to when we were growing up, Hollywood been fell off, right? But the problem is that we've already been brainwashed. So all we're doing is recreating what they taught us already on Tubi, on Now That's TV and all that. You feel what I'm saying? On in these music videos. So the purpose of people like me and you, and why we're shunned by our own people the most, is that we're attempting to reprogram them to let them see what we see. So that way it will be expressed. And we're even going as far. I know me, shout out, once again, I plug it again, Blue Tang. We got to get you on there. Where I'm going with this is not just about, oh yeah, I'm with Killer Priest, I'm hard, I'm better than you. It's about, there's a certain science to Wu-Tang. They used to stack sounds. They would have the kung fu and the blaxploitation. It wasn't just because they were cool. Remember back in the day in the ghetto, people used to go to little cheap movie theaters down there in the corner and watch blaxploitation movies and cheap kung fu flicks. This was about the culture. They were putting elements of the culture back into the music.
Leroy.
Right? So my thing is to do the same thing, but not so much just about being fun or entertaining. Throw a Malcolm X speech in there. You know what I mean? Throw a deeper topic on the song. Throw a hot trap beat, but we talking like this. What I've been known for, but I'm just saying I'm really going in on this because it's about us taking control of the ethers ourselves and stop worrying about what they doing. Oh, they showing this. Oh, they showing that. Oh, yeah, because y'all easily distracted. Who cares what they got to say? Who cares the new Drake single? I'm not listening to it. You choose to listen to it. You get what I'm saying? So we need to take back over the ethers. So I'm flooding out the ethers because by having the name Crip Jesus, I'm in the algorithm. You dig what I'm saying? I'm in the Jesus algorithm, I'm in the Crip algorithm. And I'm flooding them out with this truth. You feel what I'm saying? Instead of complaining. Or same thing you're doing. You flooding out Jason, you flooding out Elm Street, we flooding out these algorithms. We're redefining what these things mean with the vibration that comes from them. Feel me? That's what it's about. We're not supposed to be using these machines like we under goddamn duress and slavery and complaining all day. We're supposed to be using them to create and express. You know what I mean, brother? What I always tell you when we get to having a good one on the phone, damn, we could have been live right now. We could have recorded.
Yeah.
Come on.
My
so the
brother.
whole world, not because I'm saying let's sell ourselves. I'm saying so the whole world can enjoy. Because we not on the phone talking about no private bullshit. We talking deep. We build just like we build now. And you know what?
Since you said that, look at this. It came to me. I had to play it. It came to me while you're talking. Y'all see this? Y'all remember this movie Short Circuit, y'all? This came out in the 80s. Did you ever see this movie, bro?
Short Circuit?
Oh, bro.
I gotta check that
It's
out.
a movie called Short Circuit, and the government, basically a scientist, he builds a sentient robot. The robot becomes sentient, and it has feelings, it has emotions. And then, of course, the government tries to destroy it and kill it. But the scientist, it fakes its death, and they go about it to Wyoming and Montana to develop more of these. But right here, it's showing you guys Short Circuit. If you guys remember Blank Man, J5. J5 was a mimic of Short Circuit.
Wow.
And so his name was Johnny Five. Johnny Five.
Yeah, no.
Johnny Five was Short Circuit. Johnny Five alive. Johnny Five alive. And so right here, it's showing us that in the 80s, so they always say that the CIA and government is like 100 years ahead of their time. So if they're telling us that, imagine what it really is. And so this once again, y'all, like me and brother always just dive deep into it. So once again, we have our own businesses and we're building our own network. That's the importance of everything that we're doing right now, live in time, is having our own platforms to where we don't have to worry about them, to where we don't have to have censorship, and we can do direct to consumer, to where we can forget boycotting. We just don't have to go to their movies like that in that sense, and we pay it. Like, you see the Tubies, you see the Netflix. So same thing with the Matrix University application. We're going to have the news channel. We're going to have all these edifices. Like, I was watching brother Roland Martin. Kudos to that brother. For me, he's great for the elders who are still on the surface of stuff, but it's not the hogwash Channel 7 Good Morning America stuff. So it's an example. If you watch Roland Martin, like this picture behind me, they have the green screen, they have the TVs, and he has an AI robot that I saw. I should upload one of the videos that I saw when we were in Las Vegas. And so basically, they're eliminating the set. So basically, you don't need to deal with humans to that aspect. And so for me, it's a celebration because we don't need them anymore. And so once we have wealth and economics, what are you worried about? Other nations are going to build with us, because everyone really, when you travel the world, when you're in your garb, when I wear my fez, when I'm in my proper state, everyone respects us. Because when you wear your Americanized clothes, usually they can't identify you of what type of person or what type of mind state you're in. Example, when I was in Vegas at the convention, I usually wear my fez, and people stop. The African brothers will say "Assalamu alaikum," come and talk to me. I'll be like, "I'm Choctaw." "Oh, Washita, you know, brother." When I don't wear my fez and I wear the suit, even that, they don't even stop, because in their mind they probably like, this is American Negro who might think he's black, probably might do some shady. They don't know where to trust you, but at least when you have your fez, your culture garb on, at least they can have an idea that you might have some type of knowledge of self, and they're willing to do business with you. Because so-called black people are like the 15th largest economic nation in the world. So imagine when we retake us as Moors and Mers and Tamaray, we actually become and are the wealthiest people on the planet. And that's when the infinite wealth goes, because we are all over the planet. Mers and Moors and indigenous people of all lands. So when you go to Africa, that landmass, they know that you're the American God. So instead of bringing the black culture from America to Africa. We bring the Tom Mary, the Moorish American culture to Africa. And that's how we build the gap between the Americans, the Amarukans, the Moors of America, and then the brothers in Africa. And that's when they get inspired to take over the diamond mines, the cobalt mines, and all that. And now, once again, we're double the wealthiest people in the world. And so the rest of the world will need us. And that's when that's when the rest of the world starts trading with us, and they don't trade with the troglodyte because the information's coming out who they are. No one wants to trade with them. The only reason that they haven't bombed this place is because of us, because they know that we're still here, and most of our people haven't had the opportunity to learn this information. And so until they hear the voice of Jason, brothers such as my brother Crib Jesus, it's not a fair opportunity. And so when enough people hear the voice of brothers like I, July, August, September, October, November, they have an opportunity to think for themselves. It's not about believing anything of what I say. It's about you doing the research, and you'll find out that the majority of the things that I say are not going to be an F. They're not going to be a D. They're not going to be a C. Because I'm an A student in life. Not just in life, but it's scholastically in the troglodyte system, because I could do both. So the majority of things I say, when you look them up, you're going to see truth, and then you're going to discover your own truth that I might not be able to see through a certain perspective. And now we uplift each other. And then if we separate on certain lands, let's say you 100 miles or 10 miles away, you're going to build your city with your own style, your own type of food, your own type of crops. And the women and your homies and homegirls who believe in your vision will follow. And so that's why we need our plumbers to help us. We need our electricians. We have all these. We have our soldiers. We have teachers. We have lawyers and attorneys who know law. We have engineers, civil engineers is what Brother Benjamin Banneker was as well. So we have the people. We have farmers. So people, as you know, we're the best cooks. So that means when they come to our cities, they're going to have to pay a tariff, a fee, like when you go to Disneyland. Just like when you go to their football games, their basketball games, you're paying a tariff to participate in a reality that you normally would not experience. But they have our people under a spell, under black. Black people are cursed. So if you call yourself black, you're under a magic spell of a word. You spell words. Words create worlds. So you're in a fictitious timeline mentally, because the pyramids, although exploded, they're still here. The air is still here. That timeline exists. So when you travel back in time in your mind, and then if you're able to visit a site and touch a statue or see it, it'll resonate with you, because the statues just aren't statues. The statues are built with the Fibonacci sequence. I want everyone watching this to look up the Fibonacci sequence. And so when you see this, I was trying to show my thing. When you see, and what's it say? Oh, where is it? Made in where? And so, you know, so when you start understanding how we gave,
we appreciate that too, brother. We appreciate
the slaves certain languages, and when we start speaking our tones again, this is how we communicate with our Netarus, nature, and you'll understand us as computer programmers of this matrix.
No, the first time I heard that was
You could
hold on,
design.
let me say. First time I heard that was an Erykah Badu album, and that was the only reason why. When you just were doing it, I was like, "Oh, he actually knows how to read it," because I recognize that vibration. I've heard it since then, but I'm just saying it's a certain vibe goes to it.
What did she do? I put me up on game.
Saying when you were just reading from the script.
Yes, but you
said
said
the way. No, I'm saying the first time I heard the tongue do that it was an Erykah Badu album. I want to say it was the America World War IV part America Part 1, and it was like a skit on there, and they had someone doing the Netarus at the end of the song.
Well, that's how we communicate. That's why I be telling people. I hear they be talking about God is good all the time, but our people don't own industries. God is a word. It starts with the G, but really before the G, it's a 180. It's a symbol, right? So good. It's a sound, good, and then they put the 7, good, good, and it really means something else. Let me give you an example of what I mean real quick. Do not let me lose my train of thought, y'all. These are freestyles. Okay. So there's okay. A G. But first, so when I show you this, you might think that's a C or a 7, right? Or a 90-degree angle. You feel me, Crip Jesus? But when I put that together, and now a person who doesn't know certain language, they might still see the 7. They might think that's a pyramid. They might think that's just a C. So I might have to do it better and then connect it. And then that does that. You see? And then we communicate and we'll be like, that's a G. You might say, oh, that's a D. No, that's a G. But we have a common agreement. And then it goes to the G, O. That's a word, right? So that means go what? Go what? So you see how it spells? The spell creates a world through what I'm saying. So when I say go dog, go dog, go dog, go. If you ever read that book, my mom did as a kid. And then dog. Or you can do that as a dog. I meant to put D-O-G. Dog. And so once again, serious dog, star. And so Anpu, Anubian, Anubis, Anunnaki, those supreme black-headed scientists who came down to Chi, to Ki, to what they call Earth, to do different various activities as extraterrestrial beings, and we created these spacesuits to experience, to have, because you got to think, where the bugs, certain trees, they're all recording. They're recording this information. When you see the black beetle hovering, the reason it goes, that's one of our robots. It's a motor. Same with the cat. Learn about the cat and the cat's eye. Watch the movie The Cat's Eye if you haven't seen it. Watch the movie The Cat's Eye. And then after you watch the movie The Cat's Eye, I want you to type in what is the difference between the eyes of a domestic cat and a lion. And so once you go do the research at the eyes between a domestic cat and that of a lion, you'll see that they have different eyes. And so that's when we start learning about genetic cloning and genetic engineering in Tamaray, the Yucatan Peninsula, and also throughout the planet, to where we could get into, because some people would say that these beings did exist, dog-headed beings. And we can get into that when we talk about European history as well, y'all. But as we start closing it out, let's go to this. I found these pictures recently. The Totonic people, the Titanic people, or the Toto or Tito, like Tito Jackson, you know. The Totonic people are an indigenous people of Mexico who reside in the states of Ra, Cruz, Pueblo, and Hidalgo. And so here I put to the right, little known history of voodoo, the African diasporic religion that thrives in the Caribbean and Louisiana. Doesn't that look similar, y'all? So right here for me, we have proof that we, as dark-skinned, woolly-haired people, were in Mexico, the land that they call Mexico, prior to the Europeans' arrival. You see the apron. If you learn about masonry, you see the hoops in the ear. You also see the necklace. You see that, right? Which can also be if I'm doing it right when they, you see that, but that's symbology, electrical frequencies, and all sorts of things. How to move. They call it tutting, and it's pot locking. It's really like Michael Jackson was showing you to open up universes. That's when he was spinning and remember the time and did a dance move. So that meant that you were able to do dance move and open up portals, raise beings up, move mountains, move wind, open up realities. That's why when we were growing up and rapping and doing ciphers in school, they would break it up. They always have to break us up when we're together, especially on a positive vibe, because we open up portals, we open up new worlds and new universes that they can never, ever open up. That's why the movie Sinners was talking about how we can open up portals with our voice. Having a good time attracts energy of good and so-called wicked beings who want to vampire off of you. It gets into the city of gold. When we talk about a cartoon I was watching, it's called The Mysteries of the City of Gold. Let me type it up because that's this freestyle and it's in my mind. The mysterious, hold on, because this is when you talk about channeling, y'all. This is me really channeling. I'm going to show y'all this cartoon because I've been studying Hanna-Barbera and my 80s cartoons that I used to watch, y'all. And the reason why I'm doing that is, for one, studying who I am more and what I like, and then what they showed us. But Barbera, Tartarian, Hanna, all these are Moorish names, ancient Cometian names coded. So these cartoons were showing us the truth. So I'm going to play this real quick. Present, share screen. And you guys might have saw this show. So here we go. And it's singing right now. And it's talking about the mysterious city of gold, gold, gold. And look at the technology. And it's talking about a distant planet. It's talking about the Europeans, basically, and other extraterrestrials. And it talks about the Americas. It specifically says the Americas. Look at that, y'all. So they just showed you how the extraterrestrials, us as extraterrestrials and others, come and look at, they're showing you this is a cartoon, y'all, and they're in the Americas, like Crip Jesus has in his books, and we talk about. They came to the Americas looking for the cities of gold. South, Central, and North. Where's the West? Look at that. So the mysterious cities of gold of San Francisco, California, Peru, Heru, all throughout the Americas, El Dorado, multiple. So imagine walking on cities of gold with amethyst, and then you could pull up the sandals that they found that had magnets in it. So imagine walking on that and it would be vibrating. You're vibrating on a higher level, higher frequency, pulling down knowledge from the ethers. That's how we were operating at a supreme higher level, because we were using 90% of our mind, 100%, just like you want to get the best in test in school. You know, and we come from these beings. Like I said, look at my head. I'm an extraterrestrial. You can even see the cone head part coming up. We are those beings. And look at the crafts. You guys see that? So when they talk about they left in a whirlwind, or they left in a giant bird or dragon, they're talking about spacecrafts, y'all. So basically, they got this, brother, the indigenous, and it's showing you once again who the indigenous Olmecs are, because there's an episode to where it's a Olmec head too. Let me see if we got it real quick up on here. Olmec. While we're at it, is this it? Cities of Gold. Atlantis War. So in that episode, yeah. So go watch the Cities of Gold. And then if you guys remember this, you guys remember Legend of the Hidden Temple, y'all? Did you ever watch that show on Nickelodeon, Crip Jesus?
Nah, I'm sleep on that, man.
Yeah, this was a show on Nickelodeon. They used to mimic American Gladiators with show like Guts, Double Dare, Legend of the Hidden Temple. And so basically they were showing us as the Olmecs, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I already showed you guys with the Indiana Jones and all that. So once again, when we understand who we are, we've been practicing the same cultures. So if you're in a downtown, it was like the downtowns, and then the rural cities outside where they might be practicing more of the voodoo and stuff. But then, like when they show you, I think I got it here, the Freeman. I think I had a 12 years a slave, y'all, so I could connect what I'm saying. 12 years a slave. You remember the brother was kidnapped from Washington City in 1841 and rescued in 1853 from a cotton plantation near the Red River in Louisiana. And so we were saying that our people were freemen, that they were free so-called Moors, or so-called black people who were already here as well. And those were in what we'll get into, what they call the fairs. You guys go research the world fairs. Those were our ancient downtown and Moor cities that they burnt down or either stole the technology out of, refurbished, built over, burnt in fires, and then they would reclaim the land. And that's why in your downtown buildings, they always can go downstairs. There's always a big basement. In the libraries of your cities, they're all Moorish, Roman, all that, because you guys got to remember we're the original of those matrix holograms, meaning like in the show HBO Westworld, they show you how we can create a world. So just like Atlantis, Lemuria, Chicago, Las Vegas, there's different themes for each city. Just like your sports teams, there's different teams. So you guys see Giants. Why? Because New York had Giants. The Chiefs, the Kansas City Chiefs, that's us. The Oakland Raiders. Who were the Raiders? The troglodyte Europeans who came and raided what? The 49ers. They raided the gold from Empress Queen Khalifa right there. And then they moved to where? Los Angeles. Who was there? Empress Khalifa at the Griffin Observatory. And the sister told you about the underground tunnels that connect from the observatory to the ocean to the city, as we know that all the underground tunnels from the military to your cities are connected, because the world is connected through underground tunnels, as our people built underground, and there were massive floods. So a lot of your cities were covered up. That's why the buildings go high, but they go low. And then also a lot of these cities and pyramid structures are underwater. This is why you don't hear me say that America's the first, that this is the first pyramid. Man, when the tides change, you're going to see statues and pyramids and structures you've never seen. That's why they're destroying the ocean. They're going down with their machines and blowing up the statues that they're finding underneath the ocean. They're poisoning where they find these mermaids and underwater cities. That's why they did the atomic bombs in the ocean. Go research how they literally would do nuclear tests in the ocean, not just to see what happens, but they found bases there. They found mermaids and different aquatic living intelligent beings, and they would blow those cities up, because the majority of the planet is water. That's why I teach y'all that the land masses that they teach us is proof that we are enslaved. We're prisoners of war. There are other land masses of people that look like us. Some land masses with two heads, people purple, people walking around with 4 arms. That's why I'm learning of love, having to get out that parasite of hate that was introduced to us by these Europeans, regardless of their color. They came from a cold, desolate, parasitic environment. That's why the Moors from Europe, they got bit by the vampires. And that's what also Sinners is saying, that they're black vampires who got bit when they went into the caves by the flugoroids. Some of them got bit, and then they went back amongst their people and bit them. And then the ones that didn't get bit physically, the parasite came into them. That's why they came with smallpox. They came with parasites. If you watch Stargate SG-1, it wasn't the Greys that was the worst. It wasn't all the extraterrestrial humanoids and the other ones like the insects and all that. It was the parasites, the worms that were intelligent, that could get into your body through the ear, the nose, the food, and take over. And that's why when we study our ancient cultures, the food was based on what? Killing parasites. So clearly we understood that we were at war with parasites.
But a war within, you know what I'm saying? Showing
Yeah.
the balance of everything. You know what I mean?
The race thing was created. And so
exactly.
when
and
we learned the Irish, Slovakian, Russian, Scottish, Italian, they were treated different than the Irish and the Italian, because of their knowledge from the Moors and Moors, and the ones that disobeyed became the Druids who did the wicked stuff, and the righteous are the ones who wanted to learn and learn the word or world and the magic, who listened. Those became the ones who dance. That's why you see the Irish, they have the only steps that they know, because natural Caucasians, they're not in tune, they're created, they're hybrids. They were created in the matrix hologram. So they're off function, they're off key, because they're created. They have to look at you.
Can you hear me?
Yes. And so basically that's why their culture has those 2 steps. For those who've been in Hollywood, are used to act, you know that there's stuff on the floor. People don't see it when the camera is going, but when you're acting or in theater, there's footprints and directions on the floor with camera to look at. Go here for this scene. But if you study Dick Clark in American Bandstand, they had to put tape on the floor teaching them how to dance. Go ahead. Because if they never came around you, they wouldn't know how to do that. But I'm listening. What were you saying? Went off. So, long story short, y'all, we're about to wrap it up. Here we go, closing it out. He lost his connection. Let me see if we can get him real quick as we close it out. And so, as you guys see, the slavery in sports, the role of the black athlete being the battery in the wealth system for those who they play for. Long story short, so the wealth within the sports, baseball, football, and all the other industries, from the jersey, the paint on the jerseys, the electronic, the cameras. I want everyone watching this to think of right now in the next 10 seconds, how many industries can you think of that a basketball game generates? I'm going to say some out loud. Liquor, jerseys, the basketball, the scoreboard, that's electronic, the wood, so that's construction too, financing, marketing, all these brands. So um okay, and so that's where the wealth is. It's in our culture, it's in the ball games. So once again, imagine when we don't play for them and we have our own stadiums, and we can take these worldwide as traveling Moors and Moors. We can enrich wherever we go, and that's what we're going to do with the brothers from Africa and all that. We need to control the basketball leagues and all that when it gets to Africa, because you remember the movie Air Up There? The NBA's been planning to bring those brothers in because they're eventually going to weed out the American basketball players too. Same with football. All it takes is a death in football, a few deaths on that field, it's a wrap. Soccer becomes the number one sport, and much love. The Mexicans do that in America right now, even though we could do that as well because we're the original soccer players. I'm just letting you know, if they take away football from y'all as a major sport, that's economics. They give you sports to give you black people a sense of making it. There's a reason why people who play in the circus make the most money. You don't think it's a coincidence that a person who dribbles a ball makes millions of dollars, but a teacher makes peanuts? That's because they want to keep your community ignorant, chasing peanuts, chasing dreams, teaching your son to be a basketball player, an entertainer, instead of teaching your son to have his land, to have his business, and daughter. You send your kids to school. How is God good to you if you send your kids to school? Your God isn't working, but black people say God is good to them because they don't know anything. Only an ignorant person is going to say, and that's love, by the way. We all learning. I'm not taking shots. But if you say God is good all the time and every day God is good, you're addicted to a word. In order to evolve, you have to go up, forward, and up. When you keep saying God is good all the time, it's revolving. You're not going to evolve because you're addicted to a word instead of a meet not cuckoo. And that's why in the Islam study be like hamdulillah, hey and then the Navajo, hey 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 hey. So that's us. That is us. And so how do you determine who are the true indigenous people of the land? You bang the drum. You bang the drum, and you put each person, you put a baby, 1 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15 years of age, 20 years old, 30, 60, 70, and you put a troglodyte, European who claims they're Native American. You put the Asians who claiming they're Native American, and the ones, and then you put a so-called Latino, put a Mexican in there, and then you put an African, and then you put us, and you bang and the Filipinos too, and you bang the drum. Then you allow each to sing, and who's ever on note and dances to rhythm is the indigenous people of the land. Copper, tone, silky hair, woolly hair, beings, depending on your environment. You know what I'm saying? And that's why when you study hairstyles. Different hairstyles meant different priesthoods, whether it was a dreadlock, whether it was a wave format, um, or if it was an afro. Peace, brother. You wanted to come back on? Yeah, yeah. I got it, brother. I'm going. All right. Peace. So we'll start wrapping it up as well. Our brother Crip Jesus, you know how the system goes. Uh, had things to do, and then they cut him off. But no, brother Crip Jesus had to go handle some business. Much love, Crip Jesus. Love you. Go get the Blue Bible. And like I said, he's going to be doing concerts in the VR that we'll end it with. So let's end it. As you know, the slave auctions. As you guys watch the NFL combines or NFL draft compared to the slave auction, economic wealth is also how we free ourselves after the knowledge, how we build our own cities. How are we going to make currency and create currency? It's through the sports first. People will come see us play. Imagine us taking out all the so-called Moors, Moors, Black Indians, Africans, and Black people from all over the world when they participate for other countries. And we participated as a nation of Moors, Moors, and indigenous people versus them. Imagine us taking ourselves out of all their sports industries and having our own. And then asking to compete against the other nations like the Asians, the pale skin European nations. And that would bring in a crowd, and the Latinos. Let's have those baseball games, the Moors versus those who are, and that's the thing when we say Puerto Ricans, those who either choose the European side or ours. And that's the thing with baseball, it would have to be the pale skin Europeans versus the brothers. Let's do the softball. Let's do track. Let's do football, basketball. Then let's have the intellectual. But why debate with them? There's no need to debate with them. All we need is our land, our clean, fertile soil, our water. They said tractors. We simply need the machines and robots and technology, and the rest of the world will come. And then, if not, we will be picked up. And watch the show V. Watch the show The V. You guys better be prepared. And we're Moore's Chestnut, and they ended the show The V because they were going to show Moore's Chestnut's mother as the righteous draconian or the righteous reptilian, the righteous dinosaur. I'm the righteous dinosaur. Arrgh! The righteous raptor, like dinosaurs. Let me end it with that. That just came to me. And I can't, or I'm not able to play what it said, but it said that it was some visitors from out of town. So here we go as we close it out. And so it shows how the extraterrestrial dinosaurs landed on the planet, had human allies, the T-Rex. So it's showing you that that's why you look at the lizards. Some people still get afraid of a tiny lizard, a Komodo dragon. Then there's iguanas. There's certain lizards that only eat vegetables. Not all of them are meat eaters. So it's trying to show you that dinosaurs used to talk and communicate because we are those extraterrestrial serpent dinosaurs. We are the intelligent reptiles. It's just that when the nuclear bombs went off and then they cut the trees and the water, damming the water, our skin tone changed, the way we look changed. And I bet you that big old booty of a goddess, a Moorish goddess or African indigenous goddess, that butt was probably a tail. It was a tail. That's right, like a tail on a lizard, and it fell off. Because we could regenerate our limbs as reptilians. That's why we keloid. Some of us, we keloid. I could show you my leg. I got a big old keloid when I got cut as a kid. So the keloiding is when you used to be able to regenerate your limbs because With sound frequency now, they're able to heal scars and wounds because you can regenerate your limbs as a solar being and an animated being because you are in a video game. You just have to get the knowledge and information because it's atoms and photons. That's why you can feel certain things and things go numb and all these things. But the dinosaurs were one of my favorite cartoons. So Allied, look at that. You know what that is. So allies with these friendly dinosaurs from out of town. And there you go. The ring and then the dome. You see the dome? You see the matrix grid? You see the brother? Because the future is the intelligent brother, not the gangbanger, not the thug, not the worker, the scientists, the inventors, the innovators. You're cool, like they tried to make a Steve Urkel, but nah, the Malcolm X's, the Noble Drew Ali's, even to the Garveys, to the Lord Pacaus, the Pharaoh Dozers. Well, no, we're not going to say that, but we'll say these tones, like they say, King Tu Latin is. So, and it shows you that rings are technology. And then they show you the T-Rex. So he's angry, he's mad. So there's a reason. So there's mean dinosaurs, nice ones. You guys remember the show Dinosaurs? Not the mama, not the mama. So it's showing you a war between dinosaurs. It's showing you crafts, advanced crafts. So when they say angels coming down and crafts, dragons, fire breathing with fire coming out, those are all spacecrafts, y'all. And we were able to travel the land because we had the technology. And they're showing you Hollywood too. It's showing you that there was a time where us as serpent, dinosaurs, extraterrestrials, came down and we made an alliance with humans as well. And then you see the blonde hair, blue eyes too. And that one you don't see the brother. Interesting, right? But then the bad ones come in. And look at his helmet. Look at his helmet. Doesn't that look familiar? And then right there, the bad guys coming in front of the camera, trying to take the shine. And look at the Mohawk. You remember we're the original Mohawks. That's why they gave you Mr. T. They gave you Mr. T. Oh, he's behind the camera. So they got the brother behind the camera taking the picture. I did not notice that. Why is that? Because we are, look at him, we got the virtual reality goggles on, the VR glasses on, taking the picture behind the lens because he's the historian to say who lived it, but he's out the picture. But they have to take us out the picture, but maybe he's going to run into the picture. But it also shows us technology, us as Moors and Moors with technology, being the witness of the prehistoric time. And look at his hairline. Learn about certain ones. Some of us you can learn not just the receding, but when some of us have certain hairlines that go back to certain bloodlines, just like a gap goes through when you're a lizard and would stick your tongue through that gap because that comes from the lizard Moor bloodline. You feel me? So yeah, that brother took the picture. Interesting. And right there. And then we could close it out with dinosaurs. ABC show. There it goes. You guys remember the dinosaurs? Not the mom. It was showing you that dinosaurs could talk, intelligent reptiles. We're not saying English. That's what I'm trying to show y'all. And then telepathy. You don't know the sound of a lizard other than the hiss, but they might be using sounds that you cannot pick on, like a dog whistle. They can pick on, but vibrational tones. All that is language, tones, worlds that they were not going to tell them what it means anymore. That's why they used to come up to you and say, why do you call each other dog? What did dog mean? Because they didn't know. It was called ebonics and stuff. It meant that we had a world and a slang that they couldn't be a part of because of their national passage. So they can't say Washita Niskat Unchan Umban Ruta. They can all say Washita and then they'll say Washington. So when we say Washita, you see how I can't just say Washita? My voice won't even allow it. So it scares them when we speak. So you can't say Chata. You have to say Chata. And when you speak your language, it's loud. Munka Tunga. And so they say Washington. So it meant that because of their nasal passage, because how their noses are, they talk like this. And they can't pronunciate certain words. And they can't get air to their nose, which means they don't get enough oxygen to their brain to think on the same level as you. You understand? Nothing to do with race, nothing to do with ego. It's the avatar. So clearly you collect points in your past life to be able to come into this avatar. Doesn't always mean a person's righteous. We all so-called make mistakes, right? We're trying our best to be what they call perfect in the Sibit, and that's what you see with the with Benjamin Banneker that Crip Jesus was showing you with the compass and square. Perfect mathematics, but also knowing that even with the compass and square, it's not perfected like the pi. It's still not perfect. So the Fibonacci sequence, the pi, the square and compass lets us know that there is a higher level, higher entities, higher level intelligent beings that exist in physical form, that still exist on etheric levels. Then the fun gets. That's when we know we're not alone in the universe. And those are us. Those are our answers, ancestors, the Ansar. Ansar community, answers, the on switch, the Ansar. And so we gave these words to them by starting with spells. And when we gave them spells, it would create a world. So we would say, come here. Like when you're talking to a baby or a dog and you think it knows what you're saying, it knows your tone. So your dog isn't saying necessarily knowing your English, it knows certain tones. And when you give tones and commands, it knows what it's getting. Same thing how you can be programmed as a so-called robot avatar, and your infinite consciousness can be taken over. That's why they put in the parasites in the food, the nanobites in the sky through chemtrails, through music, all these parasites through electrical computer chips, so they can put entities in the computer chips, like the show called Superhuman Samurai. Superhuman Samurai, and it talked about an evil entity called Kilokon that lived in computer circuits. I could even pull it up for you guys real quick if you guys want me to as we close it out. And it was around the time of Power Rangers. And you guys remember VR Troopers as well? It was around that time of Big Bad Beetleborgs, BR Troopers, excuse me, BR Troopers, Big Bad Beetleborgs. We are those shows. So this is Superhuman Samurai as we close it out, as we start. Share screen. Hold on 1 second here. Oh, so. And so right here it's showing you that entities can live in the computer circuit and it can transfer to real life. So there are already electrical beings out there that they can store in the computers. So that's what they're doing. They're capturing these electrical beings that haven't jumped into a human avatar, but they can house in a computer. And that's why they use crystals and all that in the computers, because crystals are living entities. So if you put heat to them and can capture them, you can communicate with them. And always, who's the principal or professor? The brother. Just like in this show, I'm gonna start ending it with VR Troopers. Why? Because I want to show you guys that they're showing you that you're in a video game through these shows as a kid that we watch. So, of course, his name's Jason. You know, Jason. They go through the wormhole. So basically, it's showing you that you're already in a video game because their master, Sensei, and his dad were already in the virtual reality world. So look at, they had the headsets back then. Watch Lawnmower Man, y'all. They're showing us that's what the goggles are with the pharaohs and the kings and all these things. And like they live and all the VR already happened. That's why I said you're in a simulation. And so their professor in the hologram was what? Who was he? I'll show you. Grimlord. Look at that. Tau, the skipper, and then boom. Professor Hart. And then he was always behind some funky stuff. So once again, it shows you in VR Troopers, we're already in a hologram. We got to get in the headsets. And then it showed you how you got down on those sarcophaguses or on those tables, and you could astral travel or put on a suit. So let's say astral travel to different dimensions and conquer things at different levels and bring it down here and win. Because that's what we do when we dream. We're going to the etheric realm and creating things and coming down, and that's what we're doing. We're about to blend in those universes. That's why you have to know you're a superhero, practice your flying and all that, become a spaceship in your dreams. It takes practice for some of us. Learn how to jump multiple distances because you're in a dream world now, and there's another world in the VR headset. It's real. And when you put on the VR headsets and you take them off, it'll also help break the spell that you're in a spacesuit. So when you're communicating with people in the VR headsets, you'll actually realize that you're communicating with a person who has a different avatar, which they call an avatar in the meta world and all that. And basically, it's the same thing. That's why some of us, we have different facial structures. And so that different facial structure is a different vibration. Just a little inch off of your face causes your avatar to create a different experience. That's why everyone can be looking at the same event. And someone might be watching the cheerleader. Someone's watching the ball get passed. Someone might be watching the touchdown. Someone's watching the score. Everyone has their own world and universe, and that's when we teach that you are the atomic dog. You are the god of your universe, because when you expire, the matrix still continues. Therefore, it is you decoding everything in front of you. It's you determining your reality. But someone has stripped you of your divinity and infinity stones and replaced it with a false timeline in a reality. And the fountain of youth is what they want to find, because we can live forever on other land masses are here. But I think pretty much we're going to have to get out of here, or because it looks like America, just like I think in the past we left America when everything collapsed, like Atlantis, Lemuria, and I think we went into Africa. I really, through my research, want to say that we left America and went into Africa, because when you go to Africa, even South Africa, all the trees that they told me, they were brought in by the Dutch. They said the trees weren't here, it was all flatland. And that's why those animals like Jurassic Park were able to evolve like that, because we have mountain lions in Riverside. Riverside, California has mountain lions. So there are lions in America. They just call them mountain lions. So don't get tricked by the Lion of Judah and all that, because they will say that there were some in Israel, but Israel is new and that land is Africa. But basically saying that there were elephants in the Americas, giraffes in the Americas, the dog on pool, even the Chihuahua and all that, that comes from here, the Americas. The black-headed hairless dog comes from here. So a lot more to uncover, discover here at the Matrix University. I'm going to show you guys some of the worlds that we can build. I'm Jason Elm Street Williams, master of the universe. So right there is an example. If you're an artist, if you're a musician, if you're a business and you want to advertise, if your business isn't just locally and it's global or flat earth or matrix plane, or even if it is local, there are millions and millions of people, already in the VR headsets. They're already in Meta. They're already in worlds. We're building worlds. That's the new advertising. That's where Mercedes, Ford, Nike, all of them. That's why I would say they locked up Brother Tory Lanez and all that, because I gave you the example of what an NFT can do in our world. You can go into our world and put your CD in it with a QRC code. So when I play this, imagine the QRC code in the temple, and the majority of people will have headsets soon. People already have MetaQuest headsets. MetaQuest 1, MetaQuest 2, MetaQuest 3, MetaQuest Pro. Apple headsets are different. It's a different platform. But right now, Mark Zuckerberg and them were in Meta. And so let's get it, like Meta boy from the Lakers. MetaQuest World was his name, or forgot his name, Ron Artest. But so imagine when you're in the world, the VR, and you can promote it. I have fans, or let's not even say fans, people from all over the world traveling now into my VR world. It's like playing James Bond, or not James Bond killer mode, but you know how I used to go through worlds. Imagine Zelda. Imagine Zelda with the headsets. That's what the Matrix University VR chat is. It's a video game, and we're developing it every day, every month, every year, every second. It's going to build out worlds to where when you go in our world, you'll be able to find like little Easter eggs. So you tap the pyramid and it opens, and you get a coupon to Crypt Jesus' book. You go to inside the temple, and Crypt Jesus has his QRC code. You press it or take the picture. Now you have direct access for people to download your album, go to your website, sell your merchandise. You can have concerts to where, just like you're watching us now, people can watch StreamYard in the VR. So now imagine when I play this, imagine watching an episode in my video game. Imagine that. People all over the world, just like StreamYard, just like this, but we're in a video game. We're in my world. I'm into the pyramids. I told you I built Some of us built these, and we had 3D printers, all this stuff that they talk about levitation, but a lot of these are built with 3D printers as well. And then we came from a time where you could vision and think it and it'll come. That's why we got to go to schools of thought to get to that. And so you don't want to wake up and have superpowers destroying stuff, right? You want to be a righteous superhero, you know, make the world a better place. So, but you already know what time it is when we leave the planet. We have to take some of our people, take people to certain land masses and leave. And that's why I say vibrate, because we're going to have to destroy the planet. It's going to have to be destroyed. That's why we're getting time, all of us, no matter what color you are, time to start thinking for yourselves before the mothership arrives. Because when the crafts arrive and appear visibly, it changes the frequency of the planet. And so that's when a new world opens up. Everything that you thought was fake, real, didn't exist is real. Entities, I might have a picture of it, entities that you didn't think were real, that vibrate on a different level and a frequency you're going to be able to see soon. So that's what people aren't preparing for. To the left, it says there is something around us. The human eye can only see between 430 to 770 THz. I don't want to pronounce it wrong. Our ears can only detect sound between 20 hertz and 20 megahertz or kilohertz. These ranges make up a fraction of the total sound and light frequency range. This means there's a lot around you that we cannot see or hear. And that's why they're trying to create new colors. They're trying to find our ancient glasses, because like the movie, watch it, it's called 13 Ghosts. And in the movie 13 Ghosts, the dude builds a mathematical sacred geometry building, which lets you know that you can do that to trap entities like they do with the cities now. They harvest our energy instead of making it free like it should be. And so what they do is they trap these entities and called the 13 Ghosts in this sacred geometry house, and only through the goggles they're able to see these entities. And that's what's going on in front of you. That's why we have to be careful, like I used to with spirits. They call them spirits for a reason. They call it alcohol for a reason. So when you go to liquor stores, it doesn't say liquor sometimes, it says spirits and wine, because we would use when we would ferment certain fruits and vegetables, we would use it in our rituals to contact lower and higher, because those entities exist, and you have to be balanced, or certain things will come. Like the Europeans, it showed you in American Gods that the only way for them to even get on the land, they had to start killing each other and spill blood and be violent. And then they were showing the arrows, so it's showing you they had to feed an entity, blood, the beast. And so that's why in their book, the Bible, there's multiple gods. How do you know? Because that particular Yahweh, when Cain and Abel came back, he got rewarded for bringing a slaughtered animal, which shows brutality, murder, no spirituality, no patience, no teamwork, death, versus someone who came back with fruit, grains. That means that they had to endure a season, multiple seasons. They had to learn about astronomy, meaning the stars. They had to learn about the weather patterns. So whether they created edifices and monuments and things like that, to judge what they call space and time, to judge temperature, different degrees. They had to get water. So that means they had to learn and develop technology to go to water. So we talk about agriculture, farming, teamwork, collaboration, tribe, family, nation building, building for not oneself, but for others. That's the goal. And he wasn't rewarded. And then he was slain for doing, then he was slain. And then you ask, who was Cain's wife? because Cain killed Abel according to the book. And Yahweh put a marking on who? Cain's forehead. Why did Yahweh put a marking on Cain's forehead if there was nobody on the earth? So it's proof that Abel had communicated and built. So that Yahweh is a physical being, extraterrestrial. That came from where? Sits. In order to sit, that's a physical thing. So when they say Yahweh sits on the throne in heaven, heaven is also the pineal gland, and heaven means Orenos. And what does Orenos from Latin? Orion's belt. And where's Orion's belt? The Sirius star, the constellations, the dog star. Coincidentally, they use the Sirius dog star for their satellite radio because they use the SETI, the SETI satellite, to communicate with extraterrestrials. And who is Pharaoh Seti? That is a pharaoh from ancient Tamare, Kemet, Egypt that existed. We are the extraterrestrials who came from the stars and came to Chi, what they call now planet Earth. And ships and shims, which they now call shims because they mispronunciate. So we came in shims in different crafts. Different beings came in different crafts, whether they were two-headed, dinosaur, purple, blue, 4 arms, 4 legs, blonde hair, blue eyes, or look like you, or blue, 7 foot tall, 12 foot tall, 20 foot tall, Tatois, 4 feet tall, 2 feet tall, to the microscopic level. All coming in spacecrafts. Watch the movie Dave with Eddie Murphy. It shows you how the crafts can be small. And it shows you how your body is a spacecraft. This is what they don't want you to figure out. They want you to die so you do not pass the test because you never die. There's another side to the light spectrum. I saw my father pass. I saw the light leave and he was still shining. But the avatar was there, but the Ka, the Ba, the spirit, the consciousness was gone. Even though I could still feel the life in him still because there's still memory in the cells. That's why we have to be careful on who we allow to transport our loved ones because they eat our organs. Your human body is worth over $1 million or $1 billion. Or like Henrietta Lacks, it's infinite. They can clone you. Learn about the Cabbage Patch Kids. Learn about the repopulating of the America with pale-skinned Europeans. Learn about the little rascals. Why did they keep teaching you about orphans? Europeans were orphans. Look up the orphan trains, Orphan Annie, Raggedy Ann. There's no way that Europeans came to America and built your downtowns of Florida, downtown New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago. Those cities were already there. We built them. They burnt them down and they refurbished them and claimed them and rewrote history during Reconstruction and created magic through blood sacrifice, stealing our technology of cinema to use Hollywood because Hollywood was a place where people all over the world would do what we're doing now on the righteous level. So everything they're doing is upside down. just like the maps. You have been misled. You have been led into a firehouse. You have been misled into a burning house by Negroes, colors, and black people who look like you but have the mind of a pale-skinned European and a dark-skinned Huguenot European. So it's not about the color of your skin. It's about the consciousness. But it is a problem when certain people who don't look like you purposely hide the information. So to close it out, if they give you a black pope, you know this is the last generation. We must separate from the cave people. We must separate from the Paleolithic Iceman people because they're going to kill you. When it's all said and done, when they create the natural disasters, when they create the earthquakes, when they shut down the matrix grid, when they cut off the electricity, when there's no more supermarkets, no more food, they're going to kill you as indigenous, dark-skinned, woolly-haired people, just like they did when they got here. They committed genocide. They brought smallpox to first eliminate you. They said they came in peace, so you taught them how to farm. You taught them your ways, and they murdered you. You are the indigenous original people of the waters who came onto the land. You are the extraterrestrials who came and mixed in with those aquatic beings, forming a new bloodline, meaning that you can read your so-called Bible, and it says, in the beginning, therefore, Yahweh did not create the matrix hologram. Yahweh is not the creator. Why? Because they told you in the Bible that the spirit of Yahweh hovered, a spacecraft hovered over the waters of the face of the deep. Therefore, a spacecraft, a spirit hovered, that's a physical act, over the face, because you look at the water and you can see a reflection. Hovered over the faces of the deep. So we have to question, if God wrote the Bible, why does it say in the beginning, Yahweh Elohim created the heavens and earth? And the water was already here. And water is conscious. Water is living. Water is us. Water is family. Water is nature. Water is entity. Water is vibration. Water is life. Water is civilization in a form that they still don't know how to communicate fully with. But when you speak to water, it reacts. When you speak love to water, it reacts. When you speak love to a person, it reacts. When you speak love to a plant, it reacts. So in the Bible, when it says in the beginning, that means something already started. Because a creator or an intelligent person would say, I, God, created heaven. And you would say, I. You're not going to refer to yourself in third person as someone watching. So we say, who was watching Yahweh in the Elohim under the water? Who was watching God underneath the water and recording it? Well, God landed on earth. He's raising the land from water. He's separating the water and creating a firmament. He's creating a dome. He's changing the land. Someone is watching the Elohim, the Yahwehs, which means that there were already people on the planet. I am July, August, September, October, November. Jason, I walk amongst my people, the Messiah. You are the Messiah of your world. The true kingdom of the infinite is inside of you. You are gods. You are goddesses. You are infinite conscious beings in an avatar suit as an extraterrestrial. Some of us plugged in to free our people. Some of us plug into experience. Some of us come to record to send it back to the mothership, the source, because they're always watching. That's why you always stay righteous, because you cannot fool what they call God, your ancestors, because the matrix is always recording everything in your eyes, in your cells, the birds, the trees, the fly, everything is recording you. So what you think you're getting away with, there's entities in the room watching you. So when you cross over to the other side, yeah, it's either going to be a celebration for you or you're going somewhere else, like the movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze and Whoopi Goldberg. So just like they have psychics, we are the real psychics, not psychic mediums, extra large, gigantic. I'm the psychic gargantuous, the psycho megatron, you know. So yeah, y'all. So these are the worlds that we're building. If you need your own virtual reality world built, we can do that as well. So we're closing it out with these. Sorry, they might flag that. Flag that one too. Sorry. Wish I could turn down the volume. Trying to see. Well, we'll just play it, and since it's live, they won't flag it live. So this is some of the worlds we have built that we're going to have concerts in, presentations in. Once again, if you're an artist, a business owner, start thinking of advertising. I'm dealing with people now in Scotland, Australia, the UK, Africa, all over the world now. So imagine when you're able to advertise and sell your products, and people can download your music for $1 and you can make $10,000 in one day.
I was down, but now I'm up. Yeah, it's all God, this ain't no love. Yeah, I used to be stuck in that mud.
Came about my city, blowed up, pussy won't smoke. Roll up, fucking on your bitch, throw it up, drinking on the dirty soda. Promise I'ma never go sober.
And that's it. So we'll see y'all on the next episode. Peace and love. The Matrix University, Cash App, $ Jason Elm Street, and visit thematrixuniversity.com. Peace.